What's going on, y'all? Good evening. We're here early today. We're here early today. Hope I didn't throw off your guys' rhythm too bad. Corey Feisty, what's going on? Merkin. Merkin? Is that Merkin? Yeah, I told you guys, well, I mentioned it quickly yesterday that I took today off from my real job. My real job? Real? Real? We'll call it my real job. Okay. I took the day off from that today because um I knew I was gonna be up late last night watching the Chargers game, and I wasn't going to stop watching the Chargers game, and it was worth it. It was worth it to stay up. I'll say that much for sure. Um, but the reason why I took the day off is because I just assumed I was gonna be hungover this morning, right? And I was right. All right, I was 100% right. I felt like shit this morning. Uh, so I I was glad I took the day off. Rosa, yeah, I'm gonna start up Twitch. I'm gonna just start up Twitch a little late today, but I will be starting it up just in a maybe 10 minutes or so. I'll be starting it up. But yeah, so I woke up hungover as shit this morning and very happy that I did not have to go into work. Um, but then luckily I was able to get some food in me, chill out for a bit, then took a nap. And the nap was great cuz now I feel fine, right? I just need to sleep it off cuz I slept so bad last night. But I'm afraid it's short-lived. So, I want to get on live early today. That's number one reason why I'm on live today. No, Whiskey, it's up, buddy. Um, so yeah, I was really happy I got to sleep that out. Anyways, I feel fine now, but I was like, I'm not 100% sure how long that's going to last for. So I was like, I'll just get on live now. So I just figured I'd get on live now. Yeah, Rosa, I recognized you. I knew who you were. There's only like 4 people that come to my Twitch. Okay, I know all 4 of you. It's so funny, guys. I'm telling you, y'all. If you want to have just like a God, why I hate my light back there broke, and I hate it. Like literally, I will have 800,000 people in my TikTok. I have 1,000, 1,500 people in my YouTube, and my Twitch will have 4 people. Like straight up, it's hilarious. Okay. Second reason why is because some people requested that I do some super fan sub. I guess their subs are now super fans, right? That I do some super fan slash member time today or soon. I figured out it's today. Um. So yeah, I planned on doing that today also. I'm not telling y'all to go to Twitch. I just think it's funny. I do think it's just funny. I actually prefer you guys on YouTube because, yeah. But I do find it funny that just, I do find it funny. It's funny the way that algorithms work, right? That they, you know, that you could have one side that's just the two social media sites that are like, here, we're going to push you out, everywhere. So, um, we're going to push you out everywhere because you have great content. And then one that's just like, you suck. Like you're the worst thing. You're the worst thing ever. I don't know why you are even turning on your computer. You're the worst streamer in existence, right? it just it does make me laugh. Now this blank wall back here is driving me crazy. The light that was on there broke, and so now I need to. I'm remodeling back there. So just while I'm remodeling, it's annoying. But yeah, seriously, like two of them are like you're amazing, and one's like you're some 12-year-old playing Roblox is gonna get more people watching than you. I don't get it. I feel like I should call someone. You know what I'm saying? Like there should be a number that I can call. Like you guys realize what's going on? Like do you guys understand? Like I'm not saying like I'm like some huge massive person. I'm not. Right? Like I'm not saying that I am. It just is crazy. All right. It's just crazy. Twitch is more in real life and gamer centric, I think. No. I know political creators on Twitch that are doing significantly better than me. Yeah, a strongly worded letter. That's exactly what I need. I need to send a strongly worded letter to someone. Okay. And be like, please explain to me. Okay. Please explain this to me. I've already stopped it once. I just quit going there. And I gave it another shot. And I am running thin. I'm about to go to like Kick or something. I don't know. I don't even like I've never even been on that place. Welcome in, everybody. We're gonna get to going. We're gonna get to some phone calls in just a bit. We're gonna get things going. I'm just bitching. All right, that's all that's going on this morning. I'm just bitching. Just complaining. All right, just complaining. Just complaining. All right, I'll see a few phone calls come in, so we'll get this thing started in just a second. Hey, don't worry about those people who be like, I don't want to debate him, and then like if it takes me 3 minutes to get to their call, they run away. That means they didn't really want to debate, right? They never really actually wanted to have a conversation. All right. They just want to talk. They do that a lot. How's the day treating me? Well, any day after a Chargers whoop the hell out of the Steelers is a good day. Okay. Straight up. Mm. Am I happy to beat an old washed Rodgers? Yes. Duh. Ugh. Yeah, I'm super happy to beat an old washed Rodgers. I didn't hire Rodgers. Okay. Like that's somehow my problem that the Steelers decided to hire an old washed quarterback. Not my issue. Hey Shay, how are you? Who else? I think I saw Ogden in there. Hey Ogden, how are you today? Raging Butterflies in there. Did he? Hee All right. Headphones on. Paulie, you have to get to business. Okay? You can't just sit on here. All right? Just BSing. The people need to see stuff from you. Okay? Goodness gracious. Phone lines are open, by the way, y'all. Hey. Pay attention. Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
Well, I'm 30 years old.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Of course, I support Trump. He's the greatest president we've had in the past 100 years.
All right. Do you really talk like this?
Absolutely.
That's going to get on my nerves.
It's okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's totally okay. I can just, move on to the next caller. Huh?
You could if you want. It's a free country.
Okay, bye. All right. Yeah, that was pretty simple. No, I don't think anyone actually like talks like that. No. Like, was he Dracula? I think he was actually Dracula. He, I want to suck your blood. No. Hello, how are you?
Hello?
Hi, how old are you?
19.
Awesome. What year were you born? What year were you born?
2005.
What month?
December.
You're guessing.
No,
Hello, how are you? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Did you hear that? He's like, December makes this right, I think. That was funny. Exactly. How old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm 24.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
That's kind of a hard question to, bring into a concept that I used to.
This isn't difficult at all. Actually, it's probably like, after how old are you? Probably the easiest question I ask on this live. Yeah, it's how old are you, which should be the easiest. The last guest struggled with that quite a bit. All right, he wasn't quite sure. You nailed that one, so I'll give you credit. Okay, you hit that one right on the head. All right, so it was how old are you, which is the easiest. Second easiest question is, do you still support Trump? I mean, literally, because that's what this live is about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are you having such a hard time answering that question?
Not necessarily a hard time. I voted for him last year. It's just as of late, some things are getting a little difficult for people who are lower income, as myself and my family.
You mean exactly what Donald Trump like ran on and told you he was going to do, he's doing. And exactly what he kind of did in his first term, he's doing. And
But the
that's
thing is, when it comes to people who are also struggling, they kind of have to put in the work too. So, I'm a Christian, so I go off what the Bible tells me, not some political agenda. But the thing is, you have to put in the work, the blood, sweat, and tears that were, bestowed upon us as men to get yourself out of that struggle, to get yourself out of that low income situation. And a lot of what he's doing for his policies, a lot of what he's trying to, enforce are for people who want to try to make themselves a little more successful.
gotcha. So just like the Bible said, right? So just like the Bible said, feed the poor, but only if they pull themselves up by the bootstraps.
I mean, in the Old Testament, it would say that, yeah. In the Newer Testament, it talks about even helping the orphans and widows.
Well, in the Old Testament, it teaches you how to beat your slave and also that you shouldn't eat shrimp or cut your hair.
Well, the Old Testament is the Old Covenant. When Jesus Christ came, he created a new covenant. He created the fulfillment of the Old Testament.
Okay.
We wouldn't have to rely off the old commandments and the old ways of the teachings of Moses.
Well, first of all, not true. That is not what Jesus said in the New Testament at all. But second of all, okay, you're the one who brought up the Old Testament, not me. Okay, so if you're saying that you don't subscribe to that covenant, right, and you're talking about the New Testament covenant, all right, then therefore the Bible tells you to feed people. Jesus fed people. Jesus didn't ask people to go work for their food. Jesus actually specifically told them to sell all their belongings and follow him, and he would take care of them. Like that's like the ultimate socialist like thing, right? For literally Jesus say, stop working, sell all of your belongings, all of your possessions, follow me, and I'll make sure that you are fed. I'll make sure that you're clothed. I'll make sure that you're housed. He said that, right? So,
yeah, he also said about the fulfillment part too, because he was fulfilling the old laws, the Old Testaments. And
sir. Again, it doesn't say that, but that's not the point of this conversation. Okay, and
he
if you
did
just
say that, actually,
if you just read the next verse. Yeah, if you actually just read the next verse in Matthew 17 where it says that, okay, it actually specifically says, I did not come to demolish the law and that every single word of the law should last until the heavens and earth are gone.
Yeah,
okay?
He was specifying that the old law is not gone, but he's adding and fulfilling the new commandments that he spoke about.
Every word of the old law shall last until the heavens and earth are gone. Okay? Therefore, when the old law teaches you how to beat your slave, that lasts until the end of time. When the Bible says that women should be silent in church, that lasts until the end of time. When the Bible says you should not eat seafood or pork, that should last until the end of time. End of time.
But the thing is, when you start reading into the Old Testament and you read what Paul spoke about, he doesn't say that because when the Holy Spirit was left,
why are you trying to sir, I need you to stay on topic. Okay?
I am.
You're trying to switch to whether your religion is real. Okay? I don't care. Okay?
Well, that's a little rude in a sense.
I'm sorry. You want me to be a little bit more rude? Your religion is fake, and I do not give a shit to talk about it right now. Okay? What I am talking about, sir, listen. Your Bible does not tell you to follow someone. Sure, Jesus's Bible, whoever's Bible, I don't give a shit, does not tell you to support somebody, okay, to make sure that the poor people are fed only when they get their ass to work. And that's what you're claiming. You're claiming your Christianity is driving you okay, to vote for
Yeah,
somebody
I'm saying my
that is
Christianity. I'm not
telling
saying
you that, and that
a
is
political
not what the
figure.
Bible. Sir, be quiet. I'm speaking. You can speak when I'm finished.
Yeah, I want to speak too because I'm
Yeah,
trying to
you
testify.
can
You're
when
putting words
I'm
into my mouth,
finished.
and you're speaking about something that I never stated myself.
Sir,
I said,
sir, let me
I
give you
rely
a
more on my faith
all right, no,
than I
be
do
quiet.
a person.
Shh. I'm gonna give you a recap of this conversation, okay? And then we can hopefully move
Yeah,
forward.
and I was telling you that I believe.
Sir, I'm not asking you to speak. I am telling you,
more than
sir.
I'm believe
Hey, I'm gonna give you a recap of this conversation.
Calling on your live, you should let them speak.
I would love to let you speak, sir, but the problem is that you want to speak about everything that we're not talking about. And I'm trying to get this conversation back on target, but I need you to listen, okay? Remember in Sunday school where they told you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason? You didn't go to Sunday school? You should have. Would have taught you to probably be a better listener and Christian. Okay? Now.
Well, I wouldn't even categorize myself as a Christian in the first place.
Okay,
I'm just a follower of Christ. I'm not in a religious
that is literally what the word Christian means. Is follower of Christ.
I'm not in a religious sect. I'm not a Christian.
Sir, the word Christian means follower of Christ. It's literally what the word means.
It means the teachings and the followings of Christ.
It means follower of Christ. It's the definition of the word. Okay? So let me give you a recap of this conversation. Okay? We started out this conversation. I asked, why do you still support Trump? You said that you did support Trump and you voted for him. Okay, but you're having a lot harder time now because you're poor, okay, or at the lower level of, income in this country, and that Donald Trump's policies are now negatively affecting you. I said, hey, that's pretty much what Donald Trump had ran on, okay, was doing that to exactly you, which I was just pointing out was just a little strange, all right, that you voted for the policies that hurt you, and now you're surprised that they're hurting you, okay? That's all I was saying. Then you said, hold on, nope, not done with the recap yet, sir. Not done with the recap yet, sir. I will gladly let you know when I'm done with the recap, okay?
Well, I was just telling you.
Nope, not interested in what you're telling me. Not interested at all, okay? So, after that, you said, well, I'm a Christian, all right? And because I'm a Christian, I believe that pretty much people need to get out there and work and do all this stuff instead of, just, being fed, even though, they're mostly disabled elderly people or people that are taking care of those people, right? I was pointing out how that's not Christian-like at all, okay? Because the Bible specifically tells you the opposite of that. Then you wanted to get in talking about, I think the last thing you said about Christianity was Paul talking in the Old Testament, which doesn't exist. All right. I've read the whole Bible. I'm very familiar with Paul. Yeah. Now, Saul is different. Saul is Old Testament. Paul is New Testament. You said Paul. Okay. So, sir, I want to be very clear when I tell you this, okay? Whatever. Maybe Paul was Old Testament. I really don't care, okay? I want to be very clear when I tell you this. I don't care. Okay? I do not give a shit. All right? We clear on that? Paul, Saul, freaking flying spaghetti monster. I don't care. Why are you voting for policies that are against your own religion and against your own benefit? That's what I want to know.
Not all of them are, and I never said that about all of them.
We're talking about the ones that are hurting poor people.
Yeah, I just said not all of them are hurting poor people.
Which ones aren't?
Sorry?
Which ones aren't?
Aren't?
Yes. Which of Donald Trump's policies are primarily helping poor people?
Job opportunities, way more job opportunities than there ever used to be.
Incorrect. Actually, jobs are at a 4-year low. We had the first job loss
Then
numbers.
how was I able to get a job in a data center?
I do not know, nor do I care. Jobs across the United States are significantly down. Actually, July was the first time we had job loss numbers.
And how come
sir, this is your last chance. This is your last chance to act like an adult.
I am trying to act like an adult.
No, you're not. Every single time I say 4 words, you start talking.
No, actually, I was trying to tell you.
Sir. Last chance. Okay? Because I'm trying to treat you with the respect that you're not treating me.
Every day, because you're clearly not being respectful to me.
Oh, yes. Why don't you whine and cry and run away now, too? That would show that you did a great job.
I can whine and cry.
You're muted now. No one can hear you, sir. Literally, no one can hear you now. Okay, sir. What I was trying to say is that the unemployment rate is now at 4.3%, which is the highest that it's been in 4 years. Okay. And that jobs are not doing well. And we just lost 100,000 jobs last month. Guys, if you claim that you voted for Trump because of your Christianity, just to let you know, you're not a very good Christian. All right, we're gonna open these phone lines. Hopefully we can get somebody in here that, you know, I don't know, went to Sunday school. All right. Maybe can actually use it all. Because that guy was sad. Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing all right.
Awesome. How old are you?
29.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yeah, I support him. I'm not saying I'm like 100% satisfied, but I'd say I do support him generally.
Awesome. So you just generally support, you know, fascism and you know, stuff like that.
Nope. I don't think what Trump's doing is fascism. I wouldn't say that.
How is it not fascism? I mean, we're in reality. I mean, it fits every qualification of fascism.
All right, well, you're calling it fascism, so give me some examples of what you think he's done that's fascist.
Yeah, Make America Great just in itself is fascist, to be completely honest with you.
All right,
But,
yeah, that's not an example. Can I get an
sure,
example of what
his
he's done?
freaking immigration policies where he literally quoted Hitler.
What are you talking about? Where he's talking about? Sorry, my dog's barking. Let me go to the other room. 1 minute. Are you talking when he was talking about like the purity of the blood or whatever? That line, is that the quote you're talking about?
Yeah, that would definitely be the quote I'm talking about. Not what it said, but close enough. I get the idea that you know what I'm talking about.
I didn't. Well, I'm not quoting him like directly. It was just why do you think his immigration policy is fascist? Enforce the law
Because that's one of the
deport
14
people
pillars
who are
of
illegally
fascism
here?
is scapegoating.
So trying to deport people as fascists out of your country?
No,
Who are
not
illegally
just
here?
deporting people, sir. Donald Trump isn't just deporting people. If Donald
else
Trump
is he
was
doing to
just
the
deporting
illegal?
people, sir, every president has deported people.
Well, what's he doing that's fascist then? That
Well, first, sir, again, quoted Hitler when talking about immigrants. That's called scapegoating. Okay, so when you start quoting Mein Kampf, it's a really bad, you know, bad shot down the lane of not being fascist. Okay, but he's also deporting people with no due process. He's sending people to prison for crimes that they have not been proven that they've actually been committed. He's sending people off to be tortured. Right? He's creating his own version of pretty much, you know, early concentration camps with places like Alcatraz and other situations like that.
yeah, I understand that. Yeah, but what is due process to you for someone who's illegal in the country? What do you?
So we're switching away from his fascism and on to immigration.
Well, because that was the main point of that you're calling. That's the main.
No, you
reason
just said
said
give
he's
me an
fascist, 'cause it's
example.
Immigration policy. And
Oh, I actually said he
asking-
fits all 14 tenets of fascism. You just said to give an example of one of the tenets.
Well, yeah, and then we're going more in depth on that example.
Sure, let's do it then. What's your problem?
Because
What's
you
your
brought
issue?
up that. Well, you're saying that Gizmo. Shut up, boy. Sorry about my dog. He's being crazy. But yeah, you were saying that like the one of the problems with his immigration policy is that he's not giving illegals due process. So I was wondering to know what you think the due process for an illegal is.
Depends on the undocumented immigrant. And, you know, I want to be very clear that I'm not talking about all immigrants because there is certain leeway within some immigrants for them to have limited due process. Okay. But they all get some form of due process regardless. But I'll tell you what you don't get. What you don't get to do is send people to foreign prisons to be tortured when they have not committed a crime.
Are you just talking about what happened with Gilmar Obrego Garcia? Is that
And the other
prison
close to
torture?
200 people that were sent along with him. Yeah.
What's a CCOT? Is that you're basically just talking about CCOT, right?
In that circumstance, yes.
Well, whenever we deport them to was it what Venezuela, or no, not Venezuela, what's Bukele?
It's El
Forgot what
Salvador.
country that is. Oh yeah, El Salvador. We're just sending them to El Salvador, and that's their people. They can do with them as they will. And I'm pretty sure we sent them away because they were gangsters or part of gangs, and
Well,
there's
first,
kind of like a zero tolerance policy in El Salvador.
yeah, sir. First of all, they weren't El Salvadorian. The majority of the people that were sent were Venezuelan. Okay. Second of all, being in a gang, I don't know if you realize it or not, being in a gang is actually not a crime. Did you know that?
Well, I'm not saying it here, but in El Salvador, if you're El
Well,
Salvador,
hold on, sir.
in El Salvador, and you're
Yeah, but they weren't El Salvadorian. But you do realize that being in a gang is not a crime, correct?
isn't it like kind of a crime though, like the RICO charge and stuff, where like RICO, you can catch RICO charges for being part of a gang?
RICO charges would be for the heads of gangs, okay? And in order to be charged under RICO, because RICO is not a charge, right? If you were to be charged under RICO, okay, then you would have to go to court, right? And you would go in front of a judge and a jury, and then you would be convicted of different elements under RICO, right? And if that was the case, if
I
that was the
understand that,
case,
but-
sir, if one of those people could have been, convicted of a crime in front of a jury of their peers, right? Under RICO, then first of all, I still don't think we send them to an El Salvadorian prison. I would assume we send them to one of our prisons, because if we're not sending criminals to our prisons, I don't really know what the point of our prison system is. Okay.
The whole reason we were on gangs was because we're talking about how El Salvador puts their gang members in CCOT. And the whole reason I brought that up is because you said that Trump was torturing people, or sending them to torture places.
They are. He is. And again, sir, the punishment for being in a gang or being convicted under RICO is also still not torture.
All right, I don't know why we're still on this gang thing. The only reason I brought that up, like I said, is because those are El Salvadorian laws. We don't have control over that.
We sent them there with express written consent, right? That the only reason we were sending them there was to put them in that prison. And then we used American tax dollars to pay El Salvador to put them in those prisons. So this wasn't like hey, we're going to send them to this country. And then El Salvador.
Venezuela didn't want to take their.
Sir, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Does Venezuela not wanting to take their people mean that we should send them to a prison for no crimes to be tortured? I don't understand where you're getting at here, sir. Under what excuse are you going to have that we should send people off to a foreign prison to be tortured?
All right. So first of all, I'm pretty sure if you were Venezuelan and you wanted to get like what's it called again? Asylum. I'm pretty sure the U.S. is still giving asylum to Venezuelans if you're like an upstanding citizen. But I'm pretty sure other people that have been like sent to El Salvador.
I'm sorry. You're asking like so many. You're saying like so much shit, and I just want to make sure I get a direct answer to this question real quick because I already asked it. I just want to make sure before we move on that we get a direct answer to this question. Okay. Under what circumstances should we be sending people who have committed no crime to prison to be tortured? That was the question.
Well, I think that's a mischaracterization, so that's why I'm trying to clear it up.
But it's not a mischaracterization. That's exactly what has happened, and it's not to me. It's according to Trump and to Kristi Noem, and freaking Bukele, who said this exact thing in a press conference that it was happening. Okay, so this is not a mischaracterization. I'm telling you that it's happening. Okay, and last 3 times that I've told you that it's happening, you're like, oh, well, Venezuela wouldn't take their people, or oh, they were in gangs, or oh, some other things that is somehow a mitigating factor to torture prison. Okay, because you weren't even denying that it was happening until just currently. You were just giving all the excuses on why it's okay for it to be happening.
CCOT is a brutal prison, but that's El Salvador's. That's their thing. Like we don't have any control of what El Salvador does to gang members in their country. So
again,
I'm not sure
not gang members. again, not El Salvadorian. And again, yes, we do, because we paid them to do it.
We paid them to hold people from Venezuela because Venezuela didn't
No,
want to take any of their
in
members.
CCOT.
I know CCOT.
Sir,
But
we
Venezuela
paid
didn't
them.
want to take any of
Sir,
their illegals.
we
So
paid El
other
Salvador.
countries to take
Sir,
them.
we paid El Salvador to put Venezuelans in CCOT.
Yes, Venezuelan gang members who part of.
Nope, not Venezuela. No, sir. Again, being in a gang is not a crime. Okay, I don't know why we're rehashing this. Okay, sir,
Can
sir,
I make a point real quick? Just
no,
clear this
you
up?
can't, because you're trying to avoid what I'm trying to ask you, and it's ridiculous. Okay, if someone committed a crime in the United States, then we should convict them of that crime in a U.S. court and then send them to prison. Okay, under what circumstance should we send someone who has committed no crime to prison?
All right. This is where I think we can clear it up, because Trump designated certain Venezuelan gangs as terrorist organizations. Do you think that was legit, or are they terrorist organizations?
Doesn't even have the
Mhm.
ability to do that, sir. Under what circumstance should we send people that committed no crime to prison?
If they're terrorists, like Trump designated them
No,
as,
being
we
a
send them out.
terrorist would be a crime that we can
Yes.
convict someone of.
Yes.
Okay,
And
and I
then we're
agree,
sending
sir.
them out.
Again, if we convict someone of committing a crime, that's different, right? But if we don't convict someone of a crime, then that means that the government right now could come find you in your home, say that you did a crime, give you no due process, and send you to prison. Do you think that's okay?
No, because I'm an American citizen, and
What does you being an American citizen
right.
have to do with it?
I have a right to a jury of my peers.
So do they.
They don't have the same rights whenever
They
you're
don't
an
have
illegal
all of the
immigrant.
same rights, but they have that
Yes, they
same
do.
right under the Constitution. Yeah,
No, they
under,
have rights to due process of getting a hearing in an immigration court, and that's not a
nope, that's not true at all, sir. That is not even close to true. Actually, specifically under the Constitution, okay, you are afforded a trial by jury, okay, if you're in the jurisdiction thereof of the United States. It does not claim under that you're being a U.S. citizen. It just says, okay, that if you're in the borders of the United States, okay, you fall under the same due process laws, whether you're an American citizen or not. Okay, so again, if they're willing to break the Constitution in order to just accuse people of crimes and then send them to prison for those crimes, then what is the difference? Why wouldn't they just do it to you?
Well, don't illegals necessarily break our laws by coming here illegally? Like, isn't that part of the?
Not a law that's punishable by being sent to prison.
What about a law of getting deported?
You can get deported. We're not talking about people being deported, sir.
Well, then we're deporting them to other countries.
It's
The only time
crazy how you're trying to avoid this question.
I'm not avoiding it.
Yes,
but
you are.
trying
You're
to
completely
conflate
switching over
us.
to something different, sir. You are completely
saying on
switching over to
immigration,
something
bro.
different,
I'm not
sir.
trying- I'm not
I
trying to
said,
defend.
sir, I'm going to ask my question again. Okay.
All right,
Because
good.
because I don't know, like maybe you've been on lives or whatever, maybe you've been on call-in shows or TikTok lives, and maybe they all work a little different. Okay. And so maybe I just want to just let you know how this one works. Okay. When we're talking about a certain thing and I ask you a question about that certain thing, I expect an answer on that certain thing, and I don't expect you to try to change it over into something else, and I find that quite annoying. Okay, because that's what's called a pivot, and I don't like that.
I think I'm staying on topic of
Sir,
immigration.
If a migrant is protected under the Constitution of the United States, okay, from being sent to prison for crimes without due process, okay, under the same part of the Constitution that stops you from being sent to prison as a U.S. citizen, okay, without due process, okay, then what is stopping them from doing it to you if they did it to them?
Well, if in this narrow hypothetical you're talking about, what's stopping the government is, I guess, optics. They don't want to be arresting U.S. citizens for no reason. It'd be a nightmare.
They're already doing that with ICE. I don't think they care. And this was not narrow. It was a very
wait.
direct thing.
ICE is arresting and deporting illegal immigrants.
And
not-
some
not
American
citizens.
citizens too, yeah. But regardless of
What
any of that,
American
sir,
citizens have been
sir,
deported.
the point of that okay, is that nothing is stopping that. Okay, nothing is stopping the U.S. government from doing that. All right, if
Of
they
course,
if
it's the most powerful organization in the world. Of course, they can do things. They have the capacity to do things, but I'm asking for details. Like right now, I just asked what U.S. citizens have been deported, and you just
I believe there's been over
named them all.
170 U.S. citizens who have been deported. But regardless of that,
Thank
before we
you.
pivot over to that, sir, which I can gladly bring up stuff on, I want to be very
I'm not
clear.
pivoted, brother. I'm staying on topic. I'm
Okay,
just
well,
asking
I'm glad that you
further.
think that, and I'm totally okay with pivoting to that. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Not pivoted, brother.
Yeah, perfect. All right, just give me 1 second, okay? The idea that you are now defending human beings being sent to torture prisons,
Here comes a moral
okay,
argument.
is yeah, it's a moral argument.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, well,
I understand morals are
no, sir,
important, but
sir.
I'm just
Just
trying to
because you say it's a moral argument
get to the
doesn't
brass
stop my
tacks
argument.
of the.
It's fucking sad. Okay. The fact that you
I
are
know it's sad.
defending,
I know
yeah, it's
sad,
very,
but it
very
has to
sad
be
that you
done.
are defending people being tortured. Okay. And defending their lack of due
I'm not
process,
defending
that you are
people
making
being
claims,
tortured.
okay, that you are making claims about these people that have not been substantiated in any way, shape, or form. So not only is this wrong morally, it's wrong legally, right? I believe wrong ethically. Okay. It's wrong on every single point. And I just don't understand how you could possibly support a president in doing that. You know, even if you did just like Donald Trump for whatever, dumb reason that you could think of to write him, you would think that you would have like enough like courage as like, just a human adult person, right? To be like, hey, I still don't like the torturing people thing. Okay. But I guess that takes, at having, things like empathy and, Republicans don't like that.
I
But
do have
anyways,
empathy,
you wanted to
but
pivot. So
my
what were you
empathy
talking
is.
about?
What was that? Sorry.
You were trying to pivot. What were you trying to pivot to?
I know you're trying to say I'm pivoting, but I really am not. I'm staying on immigration. But I am empathetic to the illegal immigrants. I understand why they would want to be here, why they want better jobs, why they want to come here. But I think they should do it the right way.
Yeah, sir. I have
'Cause,
no problem with that. Okay. You see, this is the thing that for some reason I don't know how the right has somehow turned this argument. It's crazy, right? Like, truthfully, like I don't know how the Republican Party has managed, okay, and their media, whatever, has managed to just lie so fucking much, and people just believe it, and they literally have the internet. It's crazy. All right. Like, because we are advocating for the humane treatment of human beings, people are like, oh, Democrats don't want anybody deported. No, that's stupid. Okay. Obama deported more people than Trump and Biden combined. Biden deported more people than Trump did just in his last term. Okay. I'm not saying that we shouldn't deport people. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have immigration laws. I'm not saying any of that, and nobody on the left is. Okay. What we're saying is, A, treat people humanely. Okay. B, give people due process. Okay. Like maybe things like, oh, I don't know, deporting people back to the countries that they're from, or not deporting them to a prison, or, things like that, right? Just
All right.
not zip tying children in the cold on the ground, stuff like that.
Can I say something? You've been
Sure.
filibustering for a while here. Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh. No, I wanted to. I asked you this when I first joined the call, but what does due process look like for an illegal immigrant?
It depends on the immigrant, which is what I answered before.
All right. Well, like, what do you mean depends on what?
It depends on the person's immigration status and where they're detained.
All right. Well, what's the ideal due process then for you? Like, for just someone who came on a work visa, overstayed their visa, and now they have hearings. What's the due process for that? Do we just like have to have a jury for them, or is it
not all due process is a jury, sir? Not all due process is a hearing,
That's why
sir.
I'm asking. What is it?
Yeah,
Do you-
due process could be like, hey, allowing somebody to, to show their immigration documents before arresting them and taking them to a detention center. That could be part of due process, right? Like people being Mirandized is part of due process.
I understand that, but I'm pretty sure all that happens whenever an ICE raid happens. They're not just gonna. What do you think's happening? ICE is just showing up, bonking somebody on the head, and taking them to jail. I'm pretty sure they ask for papers, and people who can't provide their papers, they scrutinize them more. Like, why don't you have your ID? Why are you here at this place that ICE has interest in? Because they don't just raid random spots. They do investigations.
No, there have been
Before they
actually
leave.
like specific, like tons, like literally hundreds of incidences where literally ICE shows up and the person's like, I'm legally here. I can go get my paperwork. It's inside. And they're like, fuck you and fuck your paperwork. And then they zip tie 'em and throw them in a van. And they're in detention for 3 days while they go and get while somebody can get the fucking paperwork that was 20 feet from them.
And that happened.
Yeah, there's been like dozens of lawsuits already with evidence showing that happened.
And did the lawsuits go anywhere? Or
Yep.
'cause if this happened, then someone should have been sued. I thought I would have heard news about this. I've never heard anything.
It's so much news
people
about it.
getting
It's crazy how much
thrown in the
news there
paddy
is
wagon
about
and
it, sir.
freaking-
It's
I hear people being hyperbolic about things, but it's never really what the headlines are saying. Like on
you
the
have to
second
read
page of the
past
article, it'll be
yeah, you have to read past headlines, sir.
So I don't know. What do you want to move on to next? Because I don't think we're gonna find anything on immigration.
I'm really cool right here in
What-
immigration, sir. It's a pretty simple argument. I'm advocating for the humane treatment of other human beings, and you are advocating against it.
I'm not advocating against that.
Yes, you are.
I think that
Because
I
that's
think we
the
should just
entire
deport
left
people who are
stance.
here illegally.
Yeah. So does the left.
I don't think so, because then why do all?
Who deported
Why
more
is there
people,
a
Biden
bunch
or
of,
sir? Who deported more people, Biden or Trump?
I don't know. I didn't see the
Biden. Who
numbers on
deported more
Biden.
people, Obama or Biden or Trump?
Well, for Obama, that's because he was in office 8 years, and Trump's only been in office not even
Yeah.
5.
How about this? Biden did more than Trump, and Obama did more than both of them combined, plus a lot. Okay. The left has almost always deported more people than the right has. Okay. Almost
All right,
always.
Can I ask you a question then?
Sure.
All right, then. If the left cares about immigration and saying we should deport illegals whenever we can, but do it humanely, then why are all the sanctuary cities in the U.S. Liberal cities? If that should be maybe a thing, if liberals believed in deporting illegals, then they wouldn't have cities like open to illegals where they could just stay there, and the federal government would they'll protect them from the federal government.
Sir, what the left understands is that our economy does run better when we have people here on immigration status, even if they're on an undocumented status, right? If we were to lose, sir, no, they do. They do.
We're
Yeah,
switching it
the
up
difference
now.
is the difference in the left and the right is the left understands that the better way to handle immigration is actually to give some sort of amnesty and the ability for them to work and actually be contributing members to our society. The left
that's not a good, amnesty is not a good thing, because that just encourages more illegal immigration. That's not the answer.
Sir, you think immigration is stopped right now?
Illegal immigration is
No, it's not.
definitely slowed down. I'm pretty sure the border crossing numbers have gone way down.
Border crossings is just people that are encountered by Border Patrol, and the majority of people that are encountered by Border Patrol aren't coming here on an undocumented status. They're not coming here illegally. They're coming here legally.
Wait, what? So the people that the Border Patrol catch that are trying to cross, those are legal people? Well,
The
if you're trying to cross the
majority
border,
of them
then-
are, not all of them.
Well, I think the majority would be the opposite. That they'd be illegal. Why would
Where do the majority
a
of
Mexican? Why would a Mexican be crossing the desert and getting caught by Border Patrol if he was legal? Why don't they just?
Sir, that's
come
not
over
who I'm
on
talking
port of
about. Where
entry?
are the majority of border encounters at?
on the border. In
Yeah, no
Texas,
shit. Where on the border?
California. Are you talking about states or what are you talking about?
At fucking legal points of entry. The
You
overwhelming
think
majority.
that illegals only come over illegal?
Sir,
points
why
of
are you
entry? No,
trying
they-
to make this into a monolith? I have never said only. I have never said all. I haven't
You
said
said
any
most.
of these
You
words.
said
Most
most.
is
You
correct.
said most.
Most
my
is
brother.
correct, sir.
That's
The majority of people, okay, if I put a legal border entry part up, okay, and you say how many
Mhm.
people are coming, do you think the immigration where immigration authorities are at, where Customs and Border Protection are at, right? Do you think more people are encountered by Border Patrol agents where Border Patrol agents are at or where they're not?
all right. That's not what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about. And answer the question.
No, that is not.
Yeah,
That
no,
is not,
sir.
because
Th-
border
that's
patrol
exactly
agents
what
aren't
we're
just-
talking-
No,
that's what we're
me
talking
answer it. Let me answer it. Can I answer it? Can I answer?
Yeah, if you can actually answer the question.
Well, the border patrol agents, they're not just sitting at the ports of entry.
A
They're
lot
all
of them
along the-
are.
Of course, there's some.
No,
But
a lot of them
they're
are.
Also patrolling. They're also patrolling the border.
This is why I didn't say all. Yes, there are a certain number of Border Patrol agents that are patrolling the border, that are looking for people that are crossing undocumented, that are crossing in places that are not supports of entry. That is 100% correct.
And yes,
The-
I can
sir,
answer
sir,
that. The
sir,
people
the
crossing at ports
majority
entry,
of
they're
encounters, sir,
legals.
I'm
Of
not
course they
finished.
are.
Yeah, the people out there are most likely undocumented, generally.
Yes, I
Okay.
agree. That's what
But
I'll
the
say- that's what I'll
overwhelming
say.
majority of encounters don't happen out there. They happen at legal ports of entry. Okay? That's where the majority of people
Encounters
happen.
with who?
With border protection.
Yeah, but who are they encountering? Are you talking about legal people who are just coming on a visa? Of course,
Sir,
yes, they're going to
sir,
encounter them there.
Sir, the majority of border encounters that happened under the Biden administration were people that were here trying to seek asylum.
Like asylum from what?
From whatever they were trying to seek asylum for. Regardless of that, sir.
No. There has to be a reason for you to seek asylum. man.
Sir, of course
We're in a lot
there's
of
a
them from
reason,
Mexico,
sir,
and asylum laws, you have
sir.
All right,
I'm not
go ahead,
saying there
go
doesn't have
ahead,
to be a
go
reason.
ahead.
I'm saying, do you want me to name every reason for all millions of people that came to the border to seek asylum?
Well, you just said, oh, they're looking for asylum. And
No,
that could
I
just cover
said
everything
they were
and-
seeking asylum from whatever they were seeking asylum from. Okay, I don't know every single instance of every single one of the millions of people who tried to seek asylum. Okay, what I'm saying is, is the majority of people that were encountered by Border Patrol, those border encounters under the Biden administration, were people attempting to seek asylum. Okay,
Okay. Can I make a point?
sure.
All right. So the only countries that should be seeking asylum in the U.S. are Canada and Mexico, because isn't international law that when
No.
you're seeking asylum, you
Nope.
seek asylum in the next safest country?
Nope.
Like, why would they?
That is not a
I'm
law.
pretty sure that's a thing.
That is not a law anywhere. So, back to what I was saying, sir, is the majority of people that were coming to the border and encountering border protection, were at ports of entry because they were seeking asylum. Not saying they were all granted asylum, not saying that they all had legitimate cases for asylum, but what I'm saying is that they were here to an attempt to seek asylum. Okay? So, if you stop asylum seeking, you drastically decrease the amount of border encounters that happen at the southern border because the majority of them were at ports of entry and were from asylum seekers. That's what Donald Trump has done. He has pretty much stopped legal asylum seeking, and that has significantly reduced the amount of border encounters. It's that simple. There's still a whole bunch of people trying to sneak around, and there's still a whole bunch of border protection people trying to chase them down. Okay? That was happening under the Biden administration. That's happening now.
Is that a bad thing to you? Is that a bad thing? Because I think you think
Of course it is.
Wait, so it's a bad thing to try to catch people who are illegally coming
No, it's a
across?
bad thing for them to be crossing.
And so what should we do? Just allow anybody in the
We
world
should
who
use
wants
our
to-
border
who
protection to
says
stop
they're-
them, detain them. If they're committing a crime, they should go to jail. And if they're just crossed the border, we should deport them.
All right. Okay. And yes, I agree on that, and that's what we should do. But okay, But what about people who just say? What about people who come to try to get asylum? Should we just let them all in? Or everybody in the world who just says, "Oh, I'm seeking asylum"?
Nope.
Just let 'em in.
60% of the people under the Biden administration that attempted to seek asylum at the southern border were immediately deported.
It's insane.
Okay. So
60%. That means that more than that more people were deported at the southern border trying to seek asylum than were granted asylum at the southern border.
Right, yeah, and your point.
You're saying, should we just let anybody in that seeks asylum? No, we should not. And no, we've never done that. Okay. What Biden actually tried to do, okay, was actually shore up the asylum law to actually make it more difficult to gain entry under asylum law. Again, the Republicans blocked him.
Okay, then why did Biden like do away with what the executive order for the Remain in Mexico policy that Trump instituted? Like, what was wrong with that? Why did he get rid of that?
Why did he get rid of a policy that only affects illegal migrants? I don't know. Like, probably because it only affects...
No. That policy was for when people come to the border saying they want to seek asylum.
Mhm.
That yes, we give them a date, but you stay in Mexico and until.
No, I'm aware of what
until we
I'm
decide.
aware of what the Remain in Mexico policy is, sir. And I don't see how it's possible. What is asylum for, sir?
Well, of course, everyone knows that when you read asylum is for people who are in danger.
Okay, perfect. People that are in danger. So if
Shelter?
you're in danger, okay, if you're in danger and we tell you, hey, while we process your claim for the next 5 years, you stay exactly where you're at in danger, then what's the point of asylum?
So all the asylum seekers, there were Mexicans? Is that what you're saying? In Mexico, what were they afraid of? What were they seeking asylum from?
Sir, I don't know every individual case of asylum. Can you answer my question?
Well,
What is,
we
sir,
were talking about-
sir, what is the point if someone is in danger of telling them to stay in the danger for the next 5 years while we decide whether you get asylum or not?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. What's dangerous in Mexico that they're afraid of, that they can't just stay put there? And I'm not sure
Sir,
even the
that would
number from.
require an individual case analysis on every single asylum case in the United States, okay? And since I neither have that information on hand, okay, nor do I have any will to find it right now, because we would be here for the next, I don't know, 6 years while we address every single asylum case that has ever happened in the United States, okay? Where they're from, what their specific case is, what the evidence of that case was. And then we would probably have to hire a whole bunch of lawyers in here because it's going to be in a bunch of jargon that I don't understand. Okay. And if I don't understand it, I know you don't. Okay.
All right.
So
Just
instead of
when we-
trying
let's
to
just
make
get
an
off
argument
the
on
topic
that,
then.
no, sir, leaving people in the danger that they were in, okay, which is the reason why they were seeking asylum, is again inhumane. Okay, having someone that is in danger, we have evidence and proof that they are in danger, because that's actually what the Remain in Mexico policy, the overturning it actually allowed people to do, is actually be able to prove that they were in that danger, right? So we had people that were proven in danger, and then we just leave them in that spot for the next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, while we figure out whether they have an asylum case or not, is inhumane. Do you not agree?
I agree with leaving somebody in a dangerous situation is inhumane. Like, I'll give you an example since you don't want to give any examples of our hypotheticals. Say there's a Mexican who's informing on the cartel and they want asylum in the U.S. because the cartel's hunting them down in Mexico. I'd be like, yeah, we should probably grant him asylum immediately.
Yeah, and
But
under
I would
Remain
not
in
agree
Mexico
with somebody-
policy, they would not be granted asylum immediately. They would be left in Mexico.
Yes, and that's what I'm asking what the danger is.
That's
And
the danger.
I agree with that one. I agree with that one. Yes, we should probably get that one to a judge right away and just get them across the border.
I
But
agree,
I don't
sir.
think most of them are like that. I don't think most of them are like that. I think most of them are people
Well, sir, then it's
making
a really,
excuses.
really good thing that you're not an asylum judge.
Oh, I'm not a judge. Why is that? Because I can't.
Because each
What
of
is-
these cases come in from in front of an asylum judge, like an immigration judge, right? And that judge gets to decide on an individual basis whether or not that person has a valid asylum claim, right? So you don't know what most of those people were escaping at all. All right. So how about you don't jump to conclusions on what those people were escaping and just say we can agree that it's inhumane to leave people in dangerous situations. Sound good?
Yeah, if they're
All right.
truly in danger, of course.
Yep, exactly. If they're truly in danger, which is why, again, the majority of people that sought asylum did not have evidence of that danger and were immediately deported.
All right, let's get back since we're getting into the weeds on asylum. I wanted to ask you a question because you said earlier that the reason liberal cities have
There is no such thing as a liberal city.
most cities. What do you mean?
There
I'm
is
talking
no
about
such
blue
thing as a
cities. I'm
liberal.
talking
There's no
blue
such thing
cities.
as a liberal city.
All right, let me rephrase the question since you don't like the way I put it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'll put it this way. A year ago, were we a liberal country?
A year ago, you're talking about when Biden was.
Yeah, were we a liberal country?
I'd say we were.
But we had
at
a
that
leader
point-
that
at
was a
that
liberal,
point-
so therefore we must be a liberal country, right?
No, because at that point in Biden's presidency, he had really bad.
Doesn't
approval
matter.
ratings, so
If
I'd
he's
say
the
most of them
president, if he's the president, then we're in a liberal city.
All right, so what point are you trying to make?
Sir, all you're just saying is that there's cities that have mayors that are Democrats. That doesn't make the city liberal. That just means that the city had
No,
voted
no.
in a freaking liberal
Yes.
person. That's
Yes.
it.
All right.
Okay.
Let me rephrase it so you won't have any problems with it. In cities where Democrats have control and institute policies,
We're voted in by
like-
their people.
yes, I know that. Yes. In Democrat cities where
Again, not Democrat cities.
phone.
Just cities where people
in
voted
cities
in
run-
Democratic
in
mayors.
cities run by Democrats where Democrats have power, where they instituted sanctuary city policies, you said that Democrats understand that the economy needs. I don't know what you.
No,
say
I said
about
Democrats
that?
just
Yeah.
understand that across the board. Okay, that's not just in a city. Okay.
All right,
We
yes, can you
understand.
say
We
that point
understand. Under the last track data, undocumented immigrants paid $100 billion in taxes. Okay, or just shy. I think it was 96 billion. Okay, we understand that right now our market is incredibly volatile, right? And we have about as many jobs in the United States as we do friggin' people that are available to work those jobs. Okay, so by mass deporting all of these people, which if Donald Trump was able to deport all of the people that he was trying to deport, it would cost the U.S. taxpayers about $2 trillion, and then cost us about $100 billion every single year in taxes. Not to mention that our economy would incredibly suffer. Okay, would suffer horrific unemployment. It would drive manufacturing out of the United States because there would be no one to work them. Okay, those are just facts. All right. Now, whether you think that somehow that is worth it, that's fine. In my personal opinion, not having people here to be able to work jobs is a bad thing, right? Losing money as our economy is also a bad thing, right? I don't think these things are good things.
All right, I don't think that's right because I'd rather be in a market where there's more jobs than workers because that means that the workers have more power in that dynamic. Because if we just allow a bunch of millions of people to come here to work low wage jobs, the companies can really depress the wages of everybody because they got all the workers they need.
Or they can just
If
leave
there's less workers-
or they can just take the jobs someplace else.
And that's what the tariffs are for, to dissuade them.
It doesn't matter, sir. What does a tariff have to do? You're going to stay here to have your business fail because there's no one to work it?
No, you're gonna, and that doesn't make any sense anyway. Why would we let a bunch of people come here to work jobs that are going to get replaced in the next century, in the next decade by automation?
Sir, the
And then we're just
jobs
gonna
that
have-
migrants are working are not going to get replaced by automation.
On what kind of jobs are those?
Are you going to automate building a house?
Yeah, they're working on that with the 3D printer bricklayer or whatever, that the cement thing. Yeah, they can.
Yeah. Okay.
it can
Well, if
happen.
that's the case, sir, then none of us are going to have jobs. Because if they get all the way down to automated house building, okay, then none of us will have jobs. Okay, because everything will be automated.
So then why would you make the problem worse by
It's
letting
not making
a
the
bunch of
problem
people
worse
come
or
here?
better, sir. Right now, Donald Trump freaking just had 100,000 jobs cut in October. Over almost 1 million jobs cut this year alone.
Is that including the federal jobs he's cut? Or
That
what
is
where-
including the federal jobs, and about a 10%
Or
of that
then-
is
or
federal
that-
jobs.
All right, well then there's the number. That's
About 10%
that's why
of
it's
that
going up.
number is federal job. You think Donald Trump cut 1 million federal jobs?
I'm not sure the exact number.
No, it's about 100,000.
I don't have that.
That's why I said about 10%.
So you said we lost 1 million jobs in October?
No, throughout the year, about 100,000 in October.
All right. So what's your point, or what are you trying to say? Or
Sir, if your idea is that AI is taking over all the jobs, first of all, that's also Donald
I
Trump's
didn't
fault.
say I didn't say AI. I said automation and
Sorry. If automation is taking all of the jobs, then AI is a huge part of the new automation system, right? Then if that's the case, then it doesn't matter what any of us do because there won't be any fucking jobs, period, for anyone ever. Okay? No
Okay,
one will
yes.
work. No one will work. Okay. And we'll all just, well, I guess we'll all starve to death because no one will have SNAP benefits or unemployment or Medicare or Medicaid or any type of social safety net. And there'll be no jobs. I guess we're just going to automate, just everything ever.
all right. So then why would we just let a bunch of people in who are also gonna
Nobody's
be-
letting a bunch of people in, sir. As you're talking about asylum
you're the one-
seekers.
you're-
Okay.
No. You're the one who said that we need that the economy. Democrats understand that across the board the economy needs more workers.
It doesn't mean let everyone in.
It means to let some people in. It has to.
No,
if
sir.
that's
It
what you're
means the
saying.
people that are already here, you leave them here.
What, like amnesty? Is that I already went
I
over?
mean,
that
Reagan
and
did
said
it.
that-
Why not?
That ensured that. Yes, I'm not a person who thinks that Reagan is this like God figure. I'm not a typical right winger. I don't like a lot of Reagan's policies.
Sure. If people have been here for a long time, they've committed no crimes, and they've been valuable members of society, then I want them to continue being valued members of society. I do not think deporting them benefits us or the United States.
That's like a case where we'd have to go individually by that, but just blanket.
Of
amnesty,
course, we go
that just
individually by
encourages-
this, sir. We go through everything individually.
Yeah, but then okay, so there's like how many millions of people here that are illegal? Like over 20 million.
Zero,
So
because
we'd have
people
to
can't be
individually
illegal.
go-
And no, it's closer to 14.
I heard a 20 million number, but all right. So let's say 14. I'll take your number. So every individual person, we have to set up a court date or a hearing. You know how expensive that is?
Less expensive than deporting them.
Or what if we get them to self-deport? Like I'm pretty sure a lot of them have
Nope.
done.
Actually, there have been negligible amounts of self-deportations.
Let me look that up because I'm pretty sure.
You
a
can.
decent amount.
There's lots of studies on it, actually. But don't look at Kristi Noem because she's been debunked and fact-checked and lied the whole time. But anyways, I'm going to move on to the next caller so I can, I don't know, try to have a good conversation. But all right, I hope you have why don't you go look that up and see that the self-deportation is not working at all, okay?
Not well.
Try to find some humanity
All right.
while you're there, too. Have a good day, all right?
All right, no arguments, I guess.
Okie dokie. I don't know what that was. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here, y'all. Please please make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you. We're out here a little early today, so we're just having a little fun early in the evening. Make sure you guys are coming in, saying hi, chatting in the chat box. We'll see if we can keep this thing going early. Hey, Les, thank you so much for the €2 out there. Say, how you doing? Thanks for what you do. Oh, I'm chilling, man. Having a good day. Coming off a Chargers win, always a great day. Lovely guy said, Jesus said, thou shalt not be a whiny little bitch. I need to find that verse so I can show a couple of them it. All right. CJ, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate that. I said, thanks, Polly. This live came right on time, getting me through this last hour in hell, aka work. I really appreciate that. Glad I could be of service. Glad I could be of service. All right, we're gonna open up the phone lines, keep this thing going, y'all. If you guys would like to support the live, I do have super chats open. I do have memberships open. I have all that fun stuff. I do have my live gift goals, and I also have my pay links in my bio. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. They're all at Polypolitics, just like my name. Dean, thank you so much for the $1 over on Venmo. Says Remain in Mexico was struck down by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional. Yes, it absolutely was. Yes, it absolutely was shut down by the Supreme Court for being unconstitutional and inhumane. They actually specifically said it was inhumane. Pretty crazy, huh? Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
I'm 23.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
So I am more of a centrist. I
It's insane.
only really support Trump because he is the president of the United States.
Well, that's very unpatriotic of you.
Really?
Yes.
Because whether it was Biden or Obama, because that was truly the first president that I can truly remember, I supported them because they were the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I try to stay, relatively neutral, unbiased, because I like to think of myself as a capitalist, but I do understand that there are major issues within the United States. I do think that Trump is not a great president by any means, but he still is the president. And if I may, I just want to circle back to the conversation you were having with the other listener that, quite frankly,
Truly not
I
that
agree
interested.
with you.
Real quick, I want to put this in real quick, okay? I want to read this for you, all right? Real fun thing. You know who Teddy Roosevelt is?
I am.
President. Pretty good one, right?
I agree.
All right, awesome. This is a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. May 7th, 1918. All right. The president is merely the most important among a large number of public servants. He should be supported or opposed exactly to the degree which is warranted by his good conduct or bad character, his efficiency or inefficiency in rendering loyal, able, and disinterested service to the nation as a whole. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary that there should be full liberty to tell the truth about his acts. And this means that it is exactly necessary to blame him when he does wrong and to praise him when he does right. Any other attitude in American citizens is both base and servile. To announce that there must be no criticism of the president, or that we are to stand by the president, right or wrong, is not only unpatriotic and servile, but is morally treasonable to the American public. Nothing but the truth should be spoken about him or anyone else, but it is even more important to tell the truth, pleasant or unpleasant, about him than anyone else.
I'm very familiar with the quote because I am a pre-law student, and I was going to say,
Awesome.
I did just admit that I don't fully agree with Trump. I can sit here and say that he's not a great president by any means, but I can also go back to Obama, Biden, Bush, and say that all of them had major issues fundamentally that I feel like had a silver lining and a tipping point into destroying modern day America as we see today. Now,
Sure.
is Trump
They all have
doing
issues. I don't disagree there. Okay.
Absolutely.
Every single president has had issues. All right. And I completely understand that. Okay. When we look at presidents though, okay, there are presidents that do more good than bad. There's presidents that do more bad than good. Right. And we need to be able to weigh that within a balance. Okay. Like Obama, for example, had I think very, very, very good domestic policy where his foreign policy was quite lacking. All right. Trump's first term was pretty insignificant besides doing more of trickle-down economics and a destruction of the middle class and a mishandling of the pandemic were his major, points. Joe Biden had to recover us from the pandemic, right? And economically did very good in that recovery. And also did other things to help, move us away from Taiwanese chips and bring more manufacturing back to the United States, while also having an immigration problem and the lack of, of really being out in public and actually standing, forward in that type of things, right? Also, he had some foreign policy that I disagree with, all right? But when we come to Trump's policies in general, they are in the most part bad and not helpful for the United States. And I see very, very little good within that.
So while I agree with you, but I also disagree. And this is why I very much, and I do want to say, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to have this conversation with you. And I appreciate your platform and everything that you're doing. Now, I do want to say to the same flip of the coin, I have the very same issue that I do with MAGA as I do with this like very strong liberals. Because, for example, and I was having this conversation with somebody in your chat, and it was very respectful, and I was very appreciated for it. My family came here, and I'm first generation American. I believe that people that come here illegally, and I'm not talking about seeking asylum because there's a major difference between that. I believe that it is a fundamental discredit and a slap to the face of anybody that did it legally. You can ask my mother, who would claim that she is a large liberal, that she even finds it as a discredit and a slap to the face that somebody can just come across the border and, you know, come and seek these rights that she had to fight 5 years for, and still to this day, and this is mostly because I'm North African, and I feel like my family has faced so much discrimination and racism even now, but we're sitting here and having these conversations, the left versus the right, about this immigration issue, when it fundamentally comes down to, one, stronger borders, which I don't think Trump is doing a great job of, but I do understand his point. And two, I disagree with the fundamental, like the sanctuary cities where people, and again, not asylum seekers, but people that have crossed the border that just come to work. And I do understand that there's economic booms that come from illegal immigration and people working. That's phenomenal. But then you have that margin of issue where people like my girlfriend or my friends, we can't find those simple everyday to do jobs. And I'm not blaming anyone, so please don't take this as and I bred somebody, oh, white North African. No, not North white African,
It's
black North
insane.
African. I just care about my enunciation.
Sir, you have your conversation with me. Don't have it with the chat, please.
Sure, I apologize. Sorry about that. But there's a fundamental issue when we can't find jobs, and like this is coming from somebody in New York City.
It's insane.
I may not be truly in the conversation because I'm injured, so I haven't been able to work for a year. But seeing the amount of stress and frustration and tears that are shed because a state like New York, where we contribute over 5% of the global GDP, not global GDP, excuse me, but the national GDP, and we can't even find jobs.
All right, so let me pause you there, okay? Couple things.
Sure.
One, you are incredibly misrepresenting the position of the left. Okay, so let's start there. All right. The idea that there's a slap in the face to people that had to wait is a ridiculous statement. Okay. And if anybody feels like that, I feel very, very sorry for you. Okay. Because the position of, you're saying that your mom had to wait 5 years in order to become, legally here. All right. The left's position is that your mom shouldn't have had to wait 5 years. Okay, that is the entire issue. The problem is that our immigration system is broken, that our immigration system is flawed, that it takes way too long to be legally here. Okay, that's the issue. All right.
I agree
and
with you.
what we're saying is that, hey, we're not saying that people should be able to cross the border illegally. Again, there was more border apprehensions, there was more border detentions, and there was more repatriations at the southern border under the Biden administration than the Donald Trump first term and this term still combined. Okay, so it wasn't that we shouldn't have a strong border. We should. The Biden administration also tried to pass 4 different pieces of legislation that would have added more Border Patrol agents and would have actually done things like built a wall, added more technology and more things to the border in order to secure the border, right? So the question of whether, and was stopped by Republicans on that, by the way. So the idea of whether we should have a strong border is not really what's in question here. We all agree we should have strong borders, okay? But at the same time, there's also a recognition, okay, that there are already people here, all right? By most estimates, there are about 14 million undocumented immigrants that are currently in the country, okay? And it's what do we do about those undocumented immigrants that are here, right? The left's position on that is, hey, if you came here and you've been here for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, your whole fucking life, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you were even brought here by your parents at a very young age who did cross the border illegally and you've known nothing but this country, right? Like our dreamers, right? That there needs to be a process to make you legal, right? That deporting you by sending masked ICE agents without badges to come beat you up and throw you in a van at the cost of $2 trillion is not the right answer to that problem. So when
I
you're
agree with you fundamentally on that, by the way. I do want to say that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for
Yeah.
cutting you off.
No,
but
no,
I
no,
do
you're totally
fundamentally
fine.
agree with you. That.
Yeah, and so I think that the problem is not is I think that for some reason, and again, it's been a massive misrepresentation of what the left believes, and the right has somehow found a way to do that, which is crazy. Okay, and I don't understand how, but regardless, okay, just to correct the record, the left's position is not that we don't have an immigration problem, we do. Okay, again, there's a reason why there was 4 different pieces of legislation to help fix immigration under the Biden administration that was attempted to be passed. 3, two of which were stopped by Republicans, and the last 2 of which were actually stopped by Donald Trump specifically by calling Republicans. Okay, so it's
I
not.
am familiar with that, by the way.
I'm sorry.
I am familiar with that, by
Yeah.
the way. I do plenty of research for both sides. That's why I wanted
fine.
to genuinely hop on, because
Yeah.
I do appreciate what you stand for, by the way.
Yeah. So
No,
again,
I want to give you that.
the thing is, it's not is immigration is a problem. It's how do we fix that problem? And I think that people have kind of gotten away from this. How old did you say you were?
I'm 23.
Okay, young guy. Okay, awesome. Not trying to be against that. Just saying because you don't
No, I
remember.
understand.
Because you truly don't remember that back in the day, before Trump existed in politics, how we actually did things is we had a recognition that there were problems, and then the left and the right got together to fight out how we fix the problem. Right? That's how we dealt with issues. It was a 2-party system. It wasn't the best system in the world. Okay, still isn't. All right, but it was, hey, there's a problem, and also this is we have different ideas of how we want to fix this problem. Right? Now, for some reason, it has gotten to this polarization where it's like, oh, the left doesn't even think that there's a problem. Well, of course they fucking do. Okay, of course we do. We feel we know there's a problem just like everything else. It's how do we get to that problem and what path do we take to get it, both legally, both long-term and short-term, and how do we do it humanely?
So, and I agree with the consistency in needing the humane parts of it. That's why I'm I'm truly against the idea of ICE being, what's the word in English? I'm sorry. I speak 3 languages, so sometimes words slip out of my mind. But unregulated, I'm going to use that terminology because I believe that's the correct terminology for them. I feel like there needs to be more regulation when it comes to ICE. Do I think that they are fundamentally as a group wrong? No. I think there needs to be better everything surrounding their training, how they approach everything. And it's similar to my approach with the police. I'm a big, for example, I'm a big supporter of the police because I've had so many instances in my past where, I could have lost my life if it wasn't for a police officer. And, I think there are some fundamental issues, but I think and this is going to be another issue that I've had, and this might really be dead, but I do hear a lot because I do live in New York City, but a lot of people still solely believe in the idea that we need to get rid of the amount of funding that we give to the police. But then my rhetoric to that is, why don't we then cut funding towards medical, the fire department, schooling? And I know we are. I'm just saying with the specific pretenses that there are bad apples in these specific fields, and then we then punish the rest. It's
Hold on. Are you comparing the bad apples in the police force to the bad apples in the fire department? What are you saying? Are people showing up to fires and going, no, there's a black person's house, we're not putting it out? I mean, I assume that does happen, but I assume that's quite rare within the United States, right? Or medical, people, not indiscriminately killing people in ambulances. While I'm not saying that this isn't something that possibly happens someplace, we have a systemic issue within our police force where people are being killed, specifically black men in this country are being killed, right? And not even just specifically black men, right? People that with mental disabilities and all sorts of other things, right, that are being just shot by the police force. And it's hey, maybe we should stop that. I just don't see the comparison between that and a fireman. That's strange. I don't see how a fireman would even have the ability to pull off something like this.
I mean, I'm not saying the point is that not every cop is going to, and look, I've had this instance happen to me where my mother got into a car accident. I was speaking for my mother as a pre-law student, asking the police to actually do their job. And instead of them doing their job, they unholstered their gun and stepped into me and said that I was then intimidating them. So I understand the gravity at which things are. And to say that, things don't always happen a certain type of way because, a police officer might be like, oh, this is somebody in the fire department might be like, oh, this is a black patient. Not a black patient, sorry. I'm starting to get a little overstimulated, so let me slow down. I apologize. But
please do not go any slower. You're already dragging this quite a bit. But sir, I didn't mean that to be rude. Okay, like I'm just like it sounds like you've had like a little bit of a little. You been smoking a little bit, big dog?
I haven't. I just left the doctors because I have nerve damage.
Did they put you on something?
No, I had to get shocked for an hour with the scrambler machine for my shoulder.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. That must be exhausting. Truly, I do really believe. I do really mean that. I'm very, very sorry to hear that you're in pain. Okay, but all I was saying is you're kind of all over the place and you're kind of sporadic with your thoughts right now, right? And that does happen. Okay, and that's all I was saying. It sounded like you were, but I know from somebody who has very bad chronic pain that can be very exhausting and do the exact same thing to people. Okay. But I really do feel like at this point, like you're kind of more on my side than you are on the opposite side. And I'm very glad you sound like a very researched young man. And I think that you'll probably make an excellent lawyer someday. And if you keep researching and doing your thing, cause you sound quite intelligent, but I am going to move on to somebody who's more in opposition. That way I can kind of have a little more banter if that's all right.
Sure. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed rest of your day and continue to do what you do.
All right, dude. And I really do hope you feel better, right, man?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really not trying to be a jerk, but someone else said it in there. And like when he said he got shocked for an hour, I immediately thought like that thing that they put on your forehead and like just like electroshock there. Like, and I was like, Jesus, we don't still do that, do we? That's freaking horrific. Like that. I'm not saying like for a second, just not for nothing, but for a second, that's what popped into my head. All right. And I was like, no wonder he's talking a little slow, man. Like freaking that poor guy, he just got shocked in the head. Like that's horrible. Okay. I don't know what's going on right now. I know I got a couple super chats, but I don't see them. What in the hell? Sorry, 1 second, y'all. I got a couple super chats and I really wanted to put them on the screen and talk about them. And I don't see them and I don't know why. They just like disappeared from my screen and I don't know what's going on. Oh my God, my whole thing crashed. No, my whole thing crashed. Did my chat stop moving too on the screen? All right. I can't put them up on the screen. I can't put them up on the screen, but I can talk about them because I found them. So sorry about that. No Cap Podcast, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Say, this is pure entertainment. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the $20. Dallas, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Say, I challenge you to a formal, moderated debate on Donald J. Trump, his presidencies, policies, and legacies. Let's put ideas, not insults, to the test. Are you in? Absolutely not. Thank you for the $10, though. I appreciate that. Vibes, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. They said this caller is part of the problem. Yes, he absolutely is. I really, really appreciate that too. Thank you so much. And Lovely Goddess, thank you so much for the $5. Says, I don't know who's more annoying, ladder pullers or relatives of ladder pullers. 50-50. 50-50. I'm not sure. 50-50. All right, we're gonna thank you guys so much for the support. W's in the chat for everybody who supported. I really, really appreciate that. We're gonna open up these phone lines, keep this thing going. Please make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Oh, actually, hold on. I can actually test my stuff out again real quick. Oh, let's put this up. Hello, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Do you still live with your mom and dad, or do you live on your own?
Wait, what?
Do you still live with your mom and dad?
I live in a dorm.
Does your mom and dad pay for that dorm?
No, my scholarship pays for it.
Oh God, that's a close one. That's a close one.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, normally I don't talk to 19-year-olds that don't pay their own bills. Cause it's kind of like, you don't really know, like, I don't know.
But I do, because I get it through the school, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you a little bit of leeway since you're on a scholarship. Real quick, Scrambler treatments, kind of like TINS units, but more specialized. I had to get them for my back. You're supposed to retrain your brain to interpret pain signals normally. I did not know that. I do have a TINS unit. I do have that, so I know what that means. So that's kind of cool. But anyways, thank you so much for that info. I really, really appreciate that. And sorry I couldn't put the other super chats. Y'all, if you like to support the live, I do have super chats open and all that fun stuff. I will be able to put them on the screen now. Sorry, I didn't realize my whole thing has gone down. All right, man. So why do you still support Trump?
Yeah, I freaking love Trump.
Yeah, this is already not starting off good, man.
Why?
I love Trump. Like, you love a president? That's weird.
Yeah, I just mean, I don't love him personally. I don't know him, but I like his policies, you know.
Like,
But-
you love your mama and Trump? That's just strange. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I love my mom more than Trump.
I know, it's just a weird thing to put in for like somebody that you know, like we're talking about a presidential candidate. We're talking about somebody whose only job is like to be an elected member of the government, to be an employee of the government, to do the bidding of the United States citizens, right? You're not supposed to like love or like hate them. You're supposed to analyze whether they're doing a good job for the United States or not, right? And then move forward. So it's just like, do you have like Trump hats and stuff?
I don't have any personally.
Oh,
parents
flag. Oh, your parents do. So you're just like straight indoctrinated. Do you got like big flags or anything like that?
I guess you could. I mean, yeah, they do.
Mm.
But
Cool.
like, let me put this analogy. Like, if someone came up to you and gave you $1,000, wouldn't you love them?
No.
Oh,
My first
I
question. See, I'm too skeptical for that shit. My first question is going to be, why are you giving me $1,000? Did you steal this money? Like, I'm going to be very, very curious. If someone just randomly and gave me $1,000, like they're in this economy, are you kidding me? In this economy, somebody just walking up and give you, they want something, man. They might be trying to touch my booty or something like that. I don't like that.
yeah, I don't know. I actually have a question for you. Can I ask it?
Sure.
All right, so are you tracking people's IP addresses through their phone numbers?
Wouldn't even know how to do that.
Are you sure?
I'm not even sure that you can you do that?
Yeah, you can. The police do it all the time. I'm pretty sure because
Well, I'm
Whenever
very
you're
far
on
from the
call-
police. I'm pretty sure I'm like, I'm pretty far from the. Dude, this is like a Google Voice number, bro.
well, if you know some good hacking, I'm pretty sure you can do it. Because
Bro,
actually,
I
whenever you're on
barely
call-
keep this computer running.
Yeah, but
Hacking?
whenever you're on call, I can see you like looking down at stuff. You end calls in the middle of arguments, and I suspect that's whenever you find their IP addresses.
Gotcha. So sometimes I find it within like 30 seconds and just hang up with people, and sometimes I sit here for an hour talking to them trying to find it.
Yeah, because I actually have I put a IP, what's it called, a VPN on my phone, so I don't think you would be able to find mine very quickly. However, I do believe if I stay on here long enough, you could crack it.
Sir, I not only do not know how to do that whatsoever. I'm actually very, very open about the fact that I am technologically an idiot, okay? And have no idea how I even keep all of these things running in front of my screen. Second of all, you don't matter to me. So even if I did somehow have the ability to find you, I wouldn't want to because you don't matter to me. Okay?
Mhm.
What am I gonna do? Find some 19-year-old on scholarship and do what? We gotta go to the bar, go pick up some chicks or something like that, bro? The fuck am I gonna do with you?
Well, that would be cool, but
It would not.
actually
You would not be a good wingman. I don't believe so whatsoever. You do not sound like you
Well, yeah,
you do not sound like you got game, bro. Just being fucking honest with you, like no
yeah,
bitches,
'cause
bro.
I'm asexual though.
Hmm?
So like, do you know what ace is?
Ace. I know, like the deck of cards. I don't know. Anyways, this conversation is now
it's
bored
when
me.
when you're not
Insane.
attracted to any other gender and like, you don't want to do like sex stuff or anything like that.
Yeah, that's real
That's
cool,
what-
man. I'm happy for
what
your
I am.
sexuality. Okay, I am not that. Okay, and also bored with this conversation. Okay, so
You got my IP already, huh?
yep, got it, man. You are in. I don't
I'm gonna
know.
be moving out pretty soon. So it won't matter
Montgomery,
to me.
Alabama. I don't fucking know, dude. Fucking.
Nope. Actually, that was pretty close. Now I'm starting to get suspicious.
That was close. That was just based off the fact that your family has Trump flags,
No, that is actually
and
really
you don't
close. That's,
and you don't sound
I'm
too.
gonna end my call.
And you. Oh my god. Y'all hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate you. Yeah, exactly. This is why I don't talk to 19-year-olds, by the way. I don't know why. I just thought of I was like, what's like the reddest city that I could think of? Like in like a super red state, and Montgomery, Alabama came to mind. I don't know why. I bet you he probably like he's probably like, no, I'm not even gonna say it. I'm gonna take guesses. I'm gonna be right. Anyways, I am very well traveled, and I do hear accents well though. Taniqua, thank you so much for the $2. I really, really appreciate that. Raul, thank you so much for the $2. His caller is paranoid. Are you tracking number? What the fuck am I gonna do with your dude? It's a Google Voice number. Yeah, that dude took something and was like freaking spazzing out in there. And Shay, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, why is Trump showing up at football games now, ruining my Sunday? Now he wants a new Commander Stadium named after him. Cause he's a narcissist. It's probably what the Commanders have to do in order to stop him from sending ICE to their stadium, like arresting people during football games. Okay. Yeah, he got booed. Yeah, nobody wants him there. All right. I assume they were like, please don't send ICE to come arresting people at our games. And he was like, then name the stadium after me. It's gonna win me the Nobel Peace Prize. The Washington Orange Skins. That's the new name of the team. The Washington Orange Skins. That was good, whoever just put that in my chat. Thank you so much. Shay, thank you so much. Big nose Trevor Shay, I appreciate that. We're going to move on, keep this thing going. Dude, that is fun. Dude, whoever just put Washington Orange Skins in there is wild. That shit was funny. Hello, how are you? Hello? All right, goodbye. Hello?
Hey, what's up? Is
Not much.
Hey.
What's up with you?
Hey, I'm a big fan of yours from Nashville, Tennessee. When you're running for office, because I would vote for you anytime. I'm only going to make this call short because I got things to do, but I'm a big fan of yours. I just listen to your live when I'm driving in the car and stuff on the way back from work.
2028. Let's go for 2028.
2028. What state are you in?
Florida.
You like Senator? Florida. Oh.
Isn't that when?
Florida.
Isn't 2028 when Rick Scott's seat comes open? I want Rick Scott's seat. Rick Scott's seat.
Marco Rubio's seat is in 2026. No. But they, no, I forgot. Whoever replaced Marco Rubio, that attorney general, whatever her name is. So, yeah, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but I know who you're talking about. Is she in 2026 or 2028?
She's 2026, I believe.
Oh, I'm not
So
going to do it in 26. I'll do 2028.
All right.
I'll take Rick Scott's seat.
You don't take Rick? He needs to go.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. So, I mean, I don't think any of us will miss him too much.
I think you could take it. I mean, like, I think Florida might come a little blue after Ron DeSantis. He's a gay.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take Rick Scott's seat, and then I'm gonna go after Ron DeSantis' seat. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely do that.
Yeah, I think that's the spot for me. Yeah, 100%.
Did you go to college? What are your qualifications? Like, you
I have a graduate degree in international relations.
That's a really good degree. Yeah, I'm planning on going to UT Knoxville for public policy, and they got like a government relations like program. So yeah, that's go to grad school there after I'm done here.
There you go.
But yeah. But I appreciate you. I'm gonna keep listening to you. Yeah, you're awesome. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Awesome,
that's
man. I appreciate that.
Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Could you all do me a few favors, especially if you're in my portrait live, since it's kind of gone down quite a bit. If you guys do me a favor, if you're in my portrait live right now, there's 600 people, 600 of y'all in there, and I have like nobody chatting in my chat right now. So if you're one of the 600 people in there, can you please be active in my chat, say some stuff, maybe, send a little super chat or something like that in there so we can kind of get the numbers ramped up on my portrait live. Please and please and please and please and please. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. That'd be very, very, very helpful. Give me like 5 minutes of like sending stickers and all sorts of fun stuff in there. And if y'all could hook me up on the TikTok side too, I think we're getting real close to that 150,000. And that way we can keep this thing running, because if we don't get people in here, then we don't get callers. And if we don't get callers, then we don't get live, because we'll just have to turn the thing off. Corey, you're always talking shit. I'm talking to the rest of them, all right? All right, phone lines are back open. I really appreciate it. Yeah, sorry, that's just wild to have 600 people in here, because it shows me my, like, what's called, like, my chat rate. And my chat rate was, like almost nothing. Like, you guys just quadrupled it right there in that like 2 seconds. Yes, Freddie, you're in portrait. Hello, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
34.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
I have never really supported Trump. Just calling in to say, hey, thanks for all you do, and also props on the international relations degree. That's my major as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good one. At least I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? I did. I had lots of fun with that. Yeah, that was really great. But thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that.
Hey, have a good one.
Hey, you too. Bye. All right, we're gonna keep this thing going. Really appreciate that. Halos tried to send me his IP. I guess he wasn't able to. Pauly for speaker. I like that too. Hello, how are you? Hello? Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. How old are you?
27.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
I do.
Awesome. Why would you do that?
A couple of reasons. One, he's president of the United States. Two, more strict immigration enforcement, and big fan of the big beautiful bill.
Awesome. So you're a fan of Donald Trump putting stricter immigration policy in after he stopped stricter immigration policy from passing.
Okay, do you want to go through like one by one on these, or you just want to focus on immigration?
I mean, that was just the first one that I heard. That I can talk about any of them, but I was mostly just curious on how you're supporting stronger immigration policy from somebody who blocked stronger immigration policy. But if you don't want to answer that question, I don't really blame you.
Okay, like what specifically are you referring to? As he's loosening immigration policy, as in he's making it easier to immigrate illegally? Is that the claim that you're making?
No, in the fact that Joe Biden had much more comprehensive immigration policy that would have immediately shut down the border, would have added more border patrol, would have gotten a lot of people out that were already here under asylum, would have built a wall, would have got more technology for the border, more judges, more everything. And Donald Trump called the Senate, told them to block the bill in 2023, late 2023, early 2024, that would have done all those things. And so because of that, we had another, complete year of more immigration coming in and softer borders that would have actually helped Americans.
Okay, so with the bipartisan immigration bill, I think one of the main there was other things included in that bill, which is why Republicans blocked it, other than the immigration part, right?
Well, let me make this very
something
clear.
to do with like $60 billion in aid for Ukraine, $14 billion for Israel.
Yeah. So actually what happened was, because the Republicans wrote the bill, the Republicans actually asked for those two things to be attached to the immigration bill, not the other way around. Okay. And then after Donald Trump called them, told them to block the bill, they separated all three of those bills, right? The Israel funding, the Ukraine funding, and the immigration bill. And the Republicans approved the Israel funding and the Ukraine funding, but then still didn't vote for the immigration bill.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm sorry, just in my opinion, you don't get credit for fixing a fire, putting out a fire that, again, you started. Because, again, this could have been fixed a long time ago. If your concern is stronger borders, we could have had stronger borders a long time ago, all right? And actually, because of the things that were actually in that bill, which are actually quite different from anything that Donald Trump has actually significantly been able to pass, right? We would have actually had much stronger borders under that bill than we would have right now, because it had actually changed law, right? To actually make like seeking asylum like harder. It changed the verbiage on how much power, like immigration authorities have to actually, stop asylum seeking. It would have put in automatic shutdowns in the border that would have shut down the border that day. Like all of those things could have happened a long time ago, but it was because of Donald Trump that it didn't happen. So if you want to talk about wanting stronger borders, I don't really have an issue with that. I'm just saying Donald Trump doesn't get credit in my book.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's fair enough about the comment about not getting credit for putting out a fire that you started, but he didn't really start the fire. I mean, there was a surge of illegal immigration from like 23 to 24.
I didn't say he started the fire, sir. I said he just stopped us from stopping the fire, or anybody from stopping the fire. The fire was already there. The fire department was putting it out. Donald Trump came and like turned off the water to stop the fire. And then a year and a half later goes, okay, well, now I'm going to turn the water back on, but I'm going to put out the fire.
Okay. So what I'm seeing from like DHS and stuff, though, is that currently like the amount of encounters are down, which would like you can infer a couple of things from that. The two most logical things that you can infer from that are either A, that there's less actual like illegal immigration happening, or B, the other thing that you can infer is that ICE or Border Patrol just aren't encountering people out in the wild. I think we'd have to wait to see more data. I know that DHS usually releases their statistics every 4 years. I think we're gonna have to wait till 2026 to actually get their like full comprehensive report. But what do you think is more likely out of those two?
I think the most likely outcome is that the border encounters are down because the majority of people that we're encountering at the southern border were, again, asylum seekers. Okay. And since Donald Trump has essentially shut down an asylum and is detaining and arresting pretty much anybody that freaking comes to the border trying to seek asylum as an undocumented immigrant, then of course border encounters are down because they're not going to ports of entry. They're just going around where they're harder to catch.
Can you restate that?
I said border encounters are down because the majority of people that were having border encounters under the Biden administration were asylum seekers. Donald Trump has essentially shut off asylum from the southern border, right? And since Donald Trump has shut down asylum from the southern border by just like pretty much arresting anybody and deporting, detaining, whatever, anybody who tries to seek asylum, now people aren't seeking asylum as much. So those same people that were most likely trying to come in under a certain, a certain legal status are no longer doing that and probably just going around. Probably doing
So you
horrible
think there's
things
more
like hiring coyotes.
undocumented? So your proposition is that there's more undocumented immigration,
I have no
where they're
proof
just
of that.
avoiding the port of entry completely, rather than trying to come through and like actually come through the port of entry.
I'm saying that people that want to come here don't get stopped because Donald Trump shuts down asylum seeking. That's all I'm saying. Is that for some, that people aren't just going to just completely, like, they're not going to come all the way from freaking Central America, travel through the Darien Gap, get here, and then be like, oh, okay, well, Donald Trump doesn't want me here anymore, so I guess I'll turn back around to the place I was at that was in danger. That I was in danger in, right? They're probably still going to try to come here. But that's just a guess.
So
We don't have numbers yet. We'll see when the numbers come out, like you said.
Okay. All right. So then we can agree that until those numbers come out, we really don't know exactly what this data that we have about lower amount of encounters actually means. You're just drawing an inference based off of what I would say is relatively sound reasoning. But would you at least concede that your reasoning may not be 100% correct?
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely admit that my reasoning might not be my reasoning is correct. Whether that reasoning actually is happening is, who knows, right? If that makes sense, right? Like the reason,
I got you.
the reasoning makes sense, right? Like that people are still coming in, right? Like that makes sense to me. But whether that's true or not, we won't know until we actually get the numbers. But again, like encounters, the biggest thing that the right was able to do and Fox News was able to do in Biden's first term is try to make it sound like encounters were undocumented immigrants that were entering the country. And that's not what it is, right?
Yeah, it's a small minority. Like I think one of the data from 2024 was like 14,000 were actually undocumented, but like 140,000 encounters happened.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a
So like
small minority.
if you were seeking asylum, you could, or a refugee status, you were encounter. The large majority of people, a large number of people that were encountered were actually deported, right? Because you can be encountered and then deported, right? So like just like encounters weren't a direct, like, hey, just because there are encounters, there's this many people coming into the country. Just like that's not direct. Also, it's not because encounters are down, then now other people aren't still coming in the country. The encounters thing is kind of like a facade in my book. It's not reality of, it's not the reality of the immigration system or the immigration situation, right?
Well, then that's the thing is we don't know the reality until the data comes out. And if the data comes out and your reasoning is correct, then I would be happy to concede that argument. What I'm saying is that until we have that data, I really don't think that it would be improper to judge it either way. I mean, we can complain about how the media spins the data because both sides are going to do that. But I think we can, both agree that once we have the data from the DHS about what we actually know about what's happening, what the actual impacts of the asylum policy are, there's not really a conclusion that we can come to.
My big fear is what data do I trust? Right?
Well, you don't trust any government data?
I used to. Right?
Okay, so what government data do you like? How do you delineate? I'm just curious.
Well, what I'm saying is under the previous Trump administration, right, and under the Biden administration, or Obama, or under Bush, right, I could generally trust that Customs and Border Protection was putting out accurate data. Right? I could generally trust that, right? But now currently I have, like Kristi Noem specifically giving out data that we know is unequivocally not true. Right? And as the direct or Secretary of Homeland Security, right? If she is willing to get on stage and just spout verifiably incorrect data on immigration,
false information,
then how can I trust that the data coming from her department is factual? And that's what really scares me. I'm not saying that it's going to be. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I'm going to need a lot of independent resources and data outside of that to verify that information.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Congress is for. I mean, obviously, I think that, typically we have shifts in the power of Congress, and so they can initiate probes into different government agencies to verify data and stuff like that. You have committees that are dedicated to ensuring that, the executive branch is held accountable. But there's also, I would just hope to encourage you a little bit, because I don't know, one of my least favorite things about Republicans are Republicans who criticize like election results or who want to imply that the 2020 election was stolen. It makes me mad because these people just don't understand how government works. We need to have faith in our government. We don't trust it blindly, obviously, but just to kind of help restore your faith in government a little bit. A lot of these executive branch agencies are very bureaucratic, and that have the employees that work there for long careers where they stay in place, and they typically don't change their day-to-day life based off of who's president for 4 years. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but Donald Trump is currently and systematically dismantling that, right? Like he's literally like made calls for people like, hey, that's why he doesn't like federal workers, right? He's on a mass scale getting rid of these federal workers that we're doing exactly what you were saying, right? Like BLS, for example, right? Like he's like BLS generally is just putting out data, right? They're surveying, they're putting out data like job numbers, job creation, job losses, unemployment, all that sort of stuff, right? Well, Donald Trump, and again, for the most part, like it doesn't matter who was president. It's just a bunch of people just pushing out data. There's a bunch of number crunchers, right? Well, Donald Trump all of a sudden comes in, doesn't like the data, and immediately starts firing people in BLS because he doesn't like the numbers. So now how can I trust that what is supposed to be a somewhat independent agency that is supposed to be doing exactly that, just giving out data? How am I supposed to trust that agency if Donald Trump is sticking his head into that situation?
I mean, like I said, I think that's when you rely on the other branches of government to assess it, right? So like congressional probes, like that's our biggest accountability enforcement measure is the ballot, right? You go vote in elections, and once the Democrats get more power in the Senate and in the House, then they can, shift the power of certain committees in order to verify that data that's coming from the executive branch.
So I have to wait until way down the line when eventually, hopefully, Democrats get power to know if any data coming out of the federal government is accurate.
Well, I don't think you have to say hopefully. The government ebbs and flows on left and right, so I don't think you have to hope too hard that it'll swing back to the left in the next probably 4 to 8 years. I don't think that's an unreasonable assumption.
Cool, awesome. In 8 years, I will find out how bad Donald Trump has destroyed the economy now, or destroyed immigration now, or dealt with immigration now, or done with it. That's a problem, sir. I don't need data.
Maybe not.
I don't need
not
data of what's going
years.
on now. I need
now.
we
have house elections every 2 years.
Donald Trump is currently freaking calling on states to redraw maps just specifically so he doesn't have to lose it, doesn't actually have to fix any of his policy in order to do that.
Gavin Newsom just did the same thing in California. Gerrymandering is legal per the Supreme Court in Rucho v. Common Cause.
Sir, the California just did it to try to combat Texas, okay? Not to just do it for fun. They did it because Donald Trump called for it. The executive called for a redraw of maps outside of census, okay, in order to specifically gerrymander away Democratic votes because he knew he couldn't stand up because, like you said, we do have a change of guard, especially after, second-term president, midterms, right? It's very normal for the other party to take control of the House, right? In order to make sure that stuff like this is found out. But Donald Trump didn't want to change his policy. He doesn't want to have the left have any control. So he's specifically calling for states to do this, Republican states, to gerrymander so he doesn't have to change his policy. And then the Californians are like, oh, we got to do something to combat that. But it's not just that, sir. Mike Johnson is currently refusing to sit a Democratic member of the House, okay, because she will be the vote that brings in, like, releasing the Epstein files, right? So currently right now, even hitting the voting box, voting someone in doesn't get your representative into Congress or allow them to be able to make any change.
I'm not going to make an argument about the Mike Johnson thing because I don't know anything about that. I'll be completely honest with you. But what my response to the gerrymandering argument was essentially, we both sides do it. I mean, that was the whole Rucho v. Common Cause case. Which I'm sure you're familiar with that Supreme Court decision, that political gerrymandering is it's a political question left up to the states. If states want to write into their state constitutions to change the way that they draw their districting maps, that's a question for state legislatures.
And sir, I have massive problems with gerrymandering on both sides. Okay. Yeah,
so do I.
hold. Yeah, I have massive problems with gerrymandering on both sides. That's why I actually think every state should go to exactly like California has it, where they have an independent commission, okay,
Yeah.
that draws the lines, okay? And states
Yeah, I
gerrymandering
agree.
is an issue, okay? What I'm saying is there's a difference between a state legislature gerrymandering and the federal executive, okay, having the states gerrymander when they wouldn't normally be redrawing districts outside of a census for the sole purpose of taking away democratic democratic sway from the other party. Okay? Like if this was a 10-year census, Trump was president, they redrew maps and blah 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 blah, they turned it around. Okay. Like whatever. It sucks, it's stupid, all right? But you're right. That Supreme Court case does cover that, right? But to do it halfway through just because you know that you're not gonna be able to keep power, right, to just subvert it. And he's not just going after that, right? I mean, wasn't there just oral arguments heard in the Supreme Court about removing race as a factor when it comes to gerrymandering? So now those same Republican states can literally draw around and make sure that the black vote doesn't count in their states or the Latino votes in their states, just depending on how they want to do it. And again, even if for some reason, all of this like incredibly partisan out of census gerrymandering doesn't work, right? Like and somehow the Democrats like say they over gerrymander and the Democrats are able to take seats. Then again, the Speaker of the House is not swearing in someone right now. Right? She won a special election in September. She's still not sworn in as part of the House. Like, I don't know how like undemocratic you can get.
Well, is she not sworn in because of the shutdown?
She's not sworn
in
because
did they have an opportunity to swear her in before the shutdown?
They don't. Well, first of all, they can still be in session. The Congress still gets paid, and they can swear her in during the shutdown. There's nothing saying you can't
but
do
during
that.
the shutdown, they don't have to. And how like
they don't? Mike Johnson never has to.
Well, and I disagree with that. I think if somebody has been democratically elected to the office, doesn't matter what party they're in, obviously the Speaker of the House should be swearing them into office and let them take their seat.
And according to this, she won September 23rd. So yes, they had time to swear her in before the shutdown.
Okay, well, when did her term actually effectively begin?
I don't know that off the top of my head. Regardless, they definitely could have freaking sworn her in. And it is incredibly anti-democratic for her not to be sworn in.
I mean, fair, but at the same time, maybe sessions or people are having meetings, but I don't think they've taken any votes because the government is shut down. So she hasn't actually been not doing her job or not performing as a member of Congress because Congress hasn't been actually meeting. So she hasn't been serving on any committees because she just got elected. So I don't think that those people have really been deprived of any meaningful representation at this point because she wouldn't have had an opportunity to vote on anything anyway. Correct?
Well, she could have, but again, Mike Johnson's not.
Well,
yes,
what votes have happened during the government shutdown?
I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but there's definitely been votes. I think there's been multiple ones just on releasing the Epstein files.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to look at it and see when her effective date of office would begin.
Voting doesn't stop because the government shut down.
I agree with you. If they had the opportunity to swear her in, and I think that they should still do it even though the government shut down, because I agree with you, Congress should still be working through a government shutdown. I don't think they should get paid during a government shutdown. I think we could probably find common ground on that if we're not paying members of the military or other federal agencies, probably shouldn't pay Congress either.
Congress doesn't care about that paycheck.
Well,
the majority of them
all their
don't.
money from insider trading.
Most of them are just independently rich outside of that.
Yeah, fair.
Like I get the whole insider trading thing. Look, I do. I get it. Okay, and I'm not advocating for their ability to insider trade, and I know they fucking do it. Okay, like 100%.
Well, yeah.
Donald Trump is actually the biggest one doing it. I mean, he was the one who actually fought against a bill currently that was up in the Republican legislature or in Republican subcommittee someplace that actually would have stopped insider trading. And Donald Trump was like, I don't think this should apply to the executive, right? Like he specifically is fighting, wants to continue gerrymander, right? I'm not for that, but people making it sound like gerrymandering is the whole issue, or not gerrymandering, insider trading is the whole issue. It's not, right? The issue is that we literally live in a semi-oligarchy, right? Where in order to be in Congress, right, to be a part of one of the houses, you almost have to be independently wealthy prior to even be a part, especially if you're part of like the Senate or something like that. But regardless, like you almost have to be independently wealthy even to be able to run, right? Because the amount of money that it takes to be able to run a campaign is ridiculous. In order to get started is ridiculous. So knowing rich people is incredibly helpful. Not to mention the fact that while you're running, you're not getting paid. So which means you have to have enough money where you can just not have a job, right? And then you get paid, and like the paychecks for Congress aren't like that significant in the grand scheme of, you know, monetary value within our nation, right? Like what do people in the House make, like 120 or something like that? Like
something like that.
Yeah, like $120,000 for and then needing to also have a residence where you're at, most likely a residence in DC, being able to travel back and forth, right, for all of that, and depending on what state you're in, right, like that's less. All right, I'm seeing like 150, 170, 190. Everybody chats all over the place on how much they get paid. No one even fucking knows. That's another problem, right?
No one. Yeah, exactly.
But regardless, okay, like say you're making like 150. A lot of people can make 150 and have one home, right? Like in whatever state that they're at. You know what I'm saying? Like in Florida, it's not crazy out of the realm for somebody to make $150,000 here. You know what I'm saying? That's
but I mean, it's for most places in America, I would think that 150K is pretty good money. I mean, coming from somebody who spent like 5 years working in the service industry, you know, making tips, like
all right, 175. Everybody's telling me they make 175. Everyone's
I never made more than like 50K either. So like for me, like 175, that's a lot of money. I'm sure with travel expenses and things, I'm sure it goes quick, but no, I agree. They are all like independently wealthy or just getting incredibly well supported from the establishment, you know, dispersion of funds and donors and stuff like that. But we're not really, I don't think we really hopped on here to talk about campaign finance reform or changing the compensation package for representatives and senators.
Well, I'm just saying that is important, right? Like it is it is a bit important, right? Because like people, like I have people in here, like, and we just like, I just had a call and said like, oh, Pauly, when are you going to run for president? Like all this sort of stuff, you know, or run for office or whatever. It's like, with what money? You know what I'm saying? Fair. Like truly, like would I be decent in politics? I think I'd be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like we just had you know, and there are people without money that do win like elections, right? Like AOC did it.
Some grassroots campaigns.
Yeah, AOC did it, right? Like I think, but like 2 or 3 years after she was in office, she had a net worth of like $30,000, right, or something like that. Like she didn't have any money, right? Like even like Mamdani, right? I'll give him like credit, right? He didn't really have much money. And he still won, right? I mean, hell, we just had, for you guys that are familiar with Isaiah Martin, right? Like he didn't win, but you know, he was able to run a lot off of just like grassroots, you know, funding from people online, right? That do kind of like what I do, right? And he was able to kind of run based off of that type of stuff. So it does exist, right? Like I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It just, I think
I'm not saying that you are.
Yeah. I just,
no, I'm not. I don't ever want to think that people. I never want to try and make a parody of people's positions or put words in people's mouths, right? Like obviously, you seem like a reasonable guy. I've been watching the stream for about an hour or so. You know, you seem like a really reasonable guy, intelligent, obviously informed. You know, you clearly that's paranoid guy who thought that you were looking up IP addresses. It's like it's probably notes, dude. It's probably notes and research.
Funny enough, I don't have notes. I think I just I have like a little like ADHD or something. So you guys want to know what I'm like really like every time I'm looking down, you guys really know what I know what I'm doing. It's great. You guys are gonna make fun of me here. All right, I'm gonna show the crowd. So this is my glasses cloth, right, to clean my glasses. Right here, like in front of me. About 90% of the time that I'm looking down, I'm folding and refolding this. Like I
got you.
I'm literally like just like I don't want to call it stimming because I don't have any type of, you know, diagnosis, but I am literally just like folding and refolding that more and more like perfectly, like that's what I'm doing because it helps me to think more correctly when I'm just moving and stuff like that. That's OCD. That's good because I am diagnosed with OCD, so that's okay. We do got that one, but that's usually what I actually don't have notes up here at all. Like if I need to look up something, I look it up and I put it on the screen for everybody to look it up. I don't think that it's genuine for me to have notes up here, like personally. because then it's not having real conversations with real people. But I keep zero notes here actually at all.
Yeah.
People
Well,
don't
good
believe
on
me,
you,
but I
man.
really don't.
No, I mean, hey, like that's good on you, dude. Like
Yeah.
I have no reason not to believe you, right? So good on you to be able to retain all that information. But yeah, so that was my immigration. The other thing that I support him on is, he's the president. I want the president of the United States to do well. I typically support whoever the president is, regardless of party. Obviously there are certain things that a president can do that would make me immediately lose, or would cause me to stop supporting them. But I don't think Trump has crossed that threshold yet. And then specific, when we go to policy, a big fan of the big, beautiful bill. I like a lot of the stuff that got passed through there.
Yeah. And so when it comes to the president, I hope that every president also does well. Okay. I hope that every president does well. Okay. Why would I not?
Yeah.
Right. I'm an American. I love my country. Right.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference between going, I want every president to do well, and then the acknowledgement that this president is not doing well, and I don't believe has the capacity to do so. Right? Things that
that's a fair statement.
Yeah, and so in his first term, right? He his first term was bad, right? No one really knew who they were voting for. It was whatever. You know what I'm saying? They had this guy, they had, it went from Obama to they wanted somebody that was an outsider, blah, blah, whatever fucking reason that you have. Hillary Clinton was ass, right? Whatever reason that you want to.
Least likable candidate in the history of American
yeah,
politics.
sure. I don't even, the left didn't even like fucking Hillary Clinton. We all wanted Bernie, right?
So they stole Bernie's primary from him.
Yeah, exactly. And so bunch of reasons why Donald Trump won in his first term. All right, fine, whatever. All right. Then Donald Trump has his presidency. It's pretty generally anticlimactic, right? Except for huge tax cuts for corporations, which I guess shouldn't be ultra surprising from Donald Trump and or from the Republican Party in general, right? With
standard neocon stuff,
sure, trickle down economics, bullshit that's been we've been dealing with Republicans for the last 40 years, and then a complete and utter mishandling of the pandemic, right? Standard stuff, right? Just nothing really pretty. It's shitty stuff, but general shitty stuff, right? But it was a pretty unsuccessful presidency as far as I'm concerned. He didn't really get anything bipartisan passed. He didn't really have any major pieces of legislation that really helped the American people, right? It was just pretty much trash. Then we had COVID. Then we had Biden, right? Which we have mixed feelings about Biden and all that sort of stuff. And then Trump comes in, and he's generally been unsuccessful at anything that's actually helpful to Americans in this term. But everything he has been successful for has been detrimental for Americans, right? Nothing that he's actually accomplished has actually been good for Americans, right?
You don't think the big, beautiful bill has had positives for Americans?
What was the positives?
No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. I think stricter restrictions on SNAP benefits are pretty good. Reducing costs of gas and stuff by the federal lease, oil and gas leasing changes. Okay,
so let's hit those one by one. All right.
Okay.
First of all, let's talk about oil prices. This is the first month since Donald Trump has been president that gas was cheaper than when he came into office. Right. Donald Trump also promised to lower gas prices, and again he says oh, I'm going to lower gas prices on day one, right? Whatever. Of course he wasn't going to do that, right? So he releases all this land. He's had land released for drilling oil, since he pretty much came in. That was almost his day one thing that he did is he signed off federal lands in order to produce more oil, right? Oil companies told him to get fucked, right? Because they're not going to drill more oil in order to drive the price of gas down in order for them to make the exact same amount of money or less money by doing more work, right? So it's not going to work. We're seeing a reduction in gas prices right now based off of it being winter. We see that every winter. And as soon as, April comes back up again, it's going to spike right back up again, right? And so we're going to see that. So we produced more oil under the Biden administration in the United States than we had in American history. We outproduced Saudi Arabia last year, right? We were the most energy independent that we'd been in 70 years in 2024, right? So I just don't see how releasing more lands is actually going to be helpful for the United States, right? It's not really what Americans need. What Americans need is a cost of living, either reduction, like pretty much. But that's one. Cost, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Well, I don't really have an issue with that in general, right? First of all, this is not no tax on tips, no tax on overtimes. It's a certain level of money that is taxed.
Some overtime, yeah.
Yeah, it's a certain level that is tax deductible at the end of the year up to a certain amount of money. And it only refers to like cash tips, first of all. And I think that the overtime is capped at I think it's like $12,000 if I remember correctly, 12,500.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, something in that. I believe the no tax on overtime is 12,500 and the no tax on tips is 25,000 you guys can correct me if you want. And it's only for a limited amount of time. And again, you're still getting taxed off the bat, and it's only cash tips on top of that, right? This is actually a Bernie Sanders policy that from actually when he ran in 2016. And actually prior to that, it was actually a Rand Paul policy, right? Funny enough. But so do I have a huge issue with taxed workers, right? Like people that are truly like taxed workers, you're not taxed or tipped workers. I apologize. Truly tipped workers, right? Like your baristas, your waitresses, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, all that sort of. Do I have a problem with them not getting, not getting taxed or having tax deductible income based off of that? Absolutely not. I don't. Do I have a problem with certain levels of overtime being non-taxable? I don't really have an issue with that either. I think that those could be excellent, but those aren't like really the crux of the big beautiful bill, right? Those were additions later, right, that were actually altered and manipulated by the House and the Senate, or by the House and House and the Senate later, right? So if those were the big points of the bill, no, I would really have I'd be like, whatever, man. Like I think that they should have been longer. I think they should have been more permanent. I think they should have been more expansive, right? But I wouldn't have really complained about them. But that's not the issue, right? The big crux of the big beautiful bill is cutting SNAP benefits, cutting Medicaid, right? And using that money to fund corporate tax cuts, right? Which is going to cause, and is already causing stagflation. It's already causing volatility within the market, right? And it's already causing jobs to start cutting workers, right? And that's what we're actually seeing. Like that was like the little side piece to the bill, which again, I don't have a problem with that side piece, right? Just like I don't have a problem with Donald Trump, pretty much saying we don't have to take our shoes off for TSA anymore. I don't have an issue with that, right? I have an issue that it's not the crux of the bill, right? The biggest problem is that 10 to 17 million people are going to be removed from their Medicaid benefits. 4 billion people are going to lose their SNAP benefits. And it's not people that don't actually qualify for it. It's people that are going to get drowned in paperwork. And so therefore, even though they qualify for it, aren't going to be able to get the benefits that in reality they actually do qualify for. Right. And he's using that not to help American people, not to help the middle class, not to help the lower class, not to bring apart, this replacement for the ACA that he said he's going to be working. He said he's been working on for 10 years with a concept of a plan. It's just to give rich people more money and stealing money from, not stealing money, but taking money from social safety nets and benefits that help, that help poor people, right. Or disabled people or, foster kids, right. Taking money away from them in order to fund corporate welfare is just not something I'm going to be in favor of.
Okay. That's fair. So what people like specifically when it comes to people like losing their, like getting SNAP benefits cut, like who's going to be losing their SNAP benefits? Like what categories of people, what do you mean by drowning in paperwork?
Right. So the big beautiful bill, the majority of the things that were in it, right, was one, an addition to the work hours, right, because there was already a work requirement within SNAP benefits. That was one.
Yeah, they're adding, they're increasing it. Yeah.
Right. But the second part of it is literally just adding more paperwork to be able to prove it. Right. So even people that already qualified for it, right? Say you're working 3 jobs already. You have a family, you're working 3 jobs, you're trying to, which I know I'm making that sound almost like it's like this one-off type situation. And I don't want it to sound like that. Cause
you're not being hyperbolic.
These are real things that are happening to real people, right?
Yeah,
these are real things.
Hypothetical.
Yeah. People are working 2 or 3 part-time jobs in order to survive. They have a couple kids or whatever, and they're working all sorts of stuff. Well, now, even though they already qualify, now the paperwork burden for them has doubled, tripled in some cases, right? In order for them to prove it, they have to get extra pieces of paperwork or extra things, for their volunteer hours, or extra things to prove, that they're taking care of a disabled person, right? And so, and if they mess up one piece of paperwork, they're getting kicked off, right? It decreased the flexibility with inside of it. A lot of times, maybe if somebody was missing a piece of paperwork or, before or something like that, they would send a notice out and say, hey, you're missing this piece of paperwork. We're going to cut off your benefits, if you don't, provide us with the necessary information that we need in order to verify your status, right? Now it's just going to cut them off, and then they'll just have to deal with it later, right? And so now this is taking time away from people that are already working, these multiple jobs, which is going to drive off people that probably really could use the benefits and maybe, just don't have the time to keep up with the paperwork, or people that just fuck up the paperwork because they don't have the capacity in which to complete it. Right? We already have work benefits we already have work requirements when it comes to SNAP. We already have work requirements when it comes to Medicaid, right? We've seen these programs get cut for these exact same reasons. Like in other states, and it did not add the benefit that we thought it was going to, or not that we thought, that they thought it was going to. I never would have thought, but we saw this in Arkansas, right? With the removal of, with the addition of, paperwork and work hours to help for Medicaid and stuff, right? Or for SNAP benefits and stuff, right? And what we saw was that the unemployment numbers went up, right? Homelessness went up, right? Which I don't think is ever a benefit, right? But we didn't see this economic boom. We didn't see people going back to work, right? We just saw a bunch of people that were now in a worse spot than they were before, right? So, and I think that's the problem, right? And again, if you wanted to just shore up the system, right? Because you think that there's fraud or whatever, right? Then that's fine. And then take that money and put it back towards the middle class. But even any money they're saving isn't going to that. We're still at record high, spending within the federal government, right? We're still, sending money to every place in the world. We're still giving huge corporate tax cuts. What is the middle class gaining? Let's just say that all these people they were kicking off of SNAP and Medicaid, in parentheses, didn't deserve it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What benefit are we getting by kicking them off of it?
Are you talking about realistically, or in an ideal way in which I think it should work?
No, I'm talking about in reality under the big beautiful bill and under Donald Trump's policy. What benefit is the American people getting from taking them off?
Well, one would assume it'd be a lower tax benefit, a lower amount of tax that needs to be paid in.
Yeah, but that's not what's happening. Donald Trump just extended the current tax rate, all right, for the middle class. He gave a reduction of the corporate tax rate, and we're still spending more. So we haven't seen we haven't seen that compensation. He's already approved $4 trillion in new debt, over the next 10 years, right? And we're already seeing an increase in tax revenue from tariffs, right? And we still aren't seeing anything back for the American people.
Well, I mean, it's 2020, fiscal year 26 just started, so won't we have to kind of wait to see what the actual impact of this tax changes are going to have?
No, sir, the tax policy is already set for the next 8 years. Donald Trump the big beautiful bill set the tax policy for the next 8 years. We're already locked into our tax rates for the next 8 years.
Yes, and what I'm saying is, don't we have to wait at least some amount of time to see how, what the actual yearly impact of this is going to be? No.
Because again, sir, what you're saying is, if we remove SNAP benefits and we remove Medicaid, we remove these people from SNAP benefits and Medicaid, right? Then we should see a tax decrease. And I'm already telling you that we're not seeing a tax decrease. Our tax levels are already set.
Well, are you talking about the brackets, or are you just talking about the overall expected revenues and the tax burden on the different classes in the United States?
All the rate in which the normal American people are going, or what are going to pay, your middle class and your lower class people, the amount in which they're going to pay over the next 8 years is already set. So we're not going to see some tax reduction in the middle class 2 years from now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, ideally is that the government's spending less money overall on these programs.
Yeah, but they're not. But, yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's just say for some reason that they're just spending less money on those programs. How does that help? Let's just make it real personal. Okay, they're spending less
How does
money
that
on
help
those
me?
programs. How does that help me or you? Because somebody not getting their food benefits and having a high or not getting their Medicaid someplace else, and now them having a higher chance of being homeless, right? Having a higher chance of increasing like food insecurity within children, right? Like that doesn't help me. That makes it worse. That means that these people on Medicaid now have to, now are more likely to go to the hospital, to the emergency room, right? Fall under EMTALA, get emergency care, which now has to be covered by my tax dollars later, right? At a much higher rate, right? So I'm still going to end up paying for them later, right? At probably more for them later, right? So removing those people from like Medicaid and SNAP benefits doesn't help me. It makes my life worse. It makes their life worse. It makes my life worse. And I don't see any benefits of it.
I mean, we'd have to figure out exactly where he's going to allocate the money to. So, I mean, if that's going to defense spending or some other type of, policy that's valuable to us on the day-to-day level. But I mean, some of these programs that are in the big, beautiful bill, I mean, they had to get voted on by both parties. So there's concessions either way. Like another one, I don't know if you have children, but I mean, the child tax credit increased. So, that's something that we could look at and say, hey, yes, it's going to be a reduction in revenue for the government, but it's an increase in money in your pocket or in the pockets of people who have children.
Yeah. First of all, yes, I do have kids. Okay. But we already know where the money's going because, again, we already set the revenues and rate expectations in the big, beautiful bill. And where it's going is into the pockets of Amazon. Okay. Where it's going is into the pockets of Target and Walmart and all of these other major companies who are getting this incredibly reduced tax rate now, right? That's where the money is going from those people. Yes, an expansion of the child tax credit is fine. You know what I'm saying? I don't have an issue with that, right? But we could have easily, we could have easily expanded the child tax credit without taking money from the poor people, right? Like, you know what would be a great way to fund, like child tax credits? How about
what's that?
Just keeping the corporate tax rate in spot.
Fair, yeah.
You could have just left the corporate tax rate at what was it, 21% before he just lowered it? Right? You could have just kept the corporate tax rate at 21%, and that would have funded the child tax credit and fucking would have funded all the SNAP benefits and everything that's going on right now and the Medicaid people that are losing their benefits. It would have covered all that plus a whole bunch extra. Right? Plus a whole shit ton extra. Right? Or hell, we could even go back to before Donald Trump dropped the corporate tax rate his first term and bring it back up to 35%, which is what it was at when he took office the first time. Right? And then we could actually have an expansion to where we can actually get a thing that could actually eventually, replace the ACA and actually be better. Right? But
yeah.
right now, what we're doing is we're removing the subsidies from the ACA to where I think something like 10 million people are supposed to lose their health care, right? Again, putting more of a tax burden on that so that they can take more money and again, just give it to rich people, right? And I'm not trying to do that, that whole eat the rich, shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to just be all billionaires are bad people. There's no way you have $1 billion, you're not a bad person. I'm sorry. That's just logically impossible, right? But what I'm saying is if they were just paying the same rate that they were just paying at the beginning of Trump's term, then we could actually balance the budget. I think we could actually balance the budget. Just set the corporate tax rate back to that. Stop adding to the defense spending, excessively, right? Because again, we don't have to add to it every single year, right? Stop adding to the defense spending. Stop sending as much money overseas. And we could probably balance the budget and actually start giving subsidies and tax cuts to actually rich and poor people. I don't even think it would be that difficult. Fuck. We do that, Trump could have his ballroom. On the American taxpayer. I don't give a shit. Like, whatever. If he wants to go dance poorly, then he can have at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be completely transparent. I don't know exactly a whole lot about the corporate tax rate and exactly what those rates are and how this like money gets distributed to the corporations and things like that. You know, like I said, I very much limited to the comments that I made of what I support, like, you know, the things that I liked about the big beautiful bill. And I understand your critiques of it. I'm not saying that those are bad critiques. I think those are sound, logical conclusions that you're reaching. But yeah.
Well, yeah, sounds good, man. Like I said, like I really do try to take this from a stance of just a normal guy, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I go to work every day. I have a family. I pay a mortgage, right?
Yeah.
Like, what benefits us as people, right? Like, I don't like Donald Trump's policies significantly benefit the rich. I want our policies to significantly like benefit you and I, right? Which I don't know, maybe you're ultra rich, I don't know. But generally, I mean,
not.
like
I'm a student, so
yeah, generally, I mean, just like normal everyday people. Let our policies reflect people, let it reflect humanity, right? Let it reflect like truly just helping others, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's really what I want. But anyways, man, I'm gonna let you go. I hope you have a wonderful day. All right, and
yeah, you too, man. Hey, great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
I just want people to, you know, be cool. Anyways. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I've been on about 2.5 hours. I'm actually a little bit further, well, a little bit longer than what I just did. So, but here's what I'm going to do. Thank you guys so much for here. Y'all make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really, really appreciate you guys. Actually, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Stupid. Colin, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. I really appreciate that. Sorry for your loss after talking to MAGA. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Freddie, thank you so much for the peace sign over here and the $10. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Very, very nice. All right. So what I'm going to do is, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little, oh, wow. Luis, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I really, really appreciate that. He just jumped into the chat for Freddie and Luis. Said, Paulie, thanks for your sincere approach to all callers. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Before you guys leave, here's what we're going to do. All right. I'm going to shut down my portrait live. All right. I'm going to, I was looking for a spot on my landscape live. So on the TikTok side, I'm going to go to sub only for a bit. We're going to hang out over there. And I'm going to go to members only on YouTube. Once I can figure out how to do that without shutting it down. And then everything else is getting shut down. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to hang out with members and super fans and subs for about, I don't know, half an hour or so. And before we end the night. Sound cool? All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I will be on tomorrow, probably. I'm going golfing tomorrow, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of beers, so we'll see how I feel after that. But, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? Love you guys. All right. And let's go. Let's see. I don't know how to do it with the new stuff over on TikTok. Hold on. I got to go to... I hope I can do it on TikTok. They've been really... Oh, here we go. Superfan only live. Boom. Did it. Now, I used to know how to do it on YouTube too, and now I don't know. Copy, reset, analytics. I really don't want to have to restart this thing. Edit. Hold on. Edit. No, I can't do it. All right. If you're on my YouTube over here, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to restart the live. So I'm going to shut it down and I'm going to restart it. I'm going to restart it in this format for just members. So come back in like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. It's going to take me 2 minutes to end this stream and restart it for members only. Okay. So I'll see you guys in just like 1 sec. All right. Sorry, TikTok.